Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Tottenham Away. It's Monday night, the best place to be in town if you're a Spurs fan. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're a regular, welcome back. The season is over. Finally, it's done. The worst season since 2009. It's been a shocker. There's plenty to discuss. As always, let's just get the show started. Let's go.
The first game we look for, Robbie. Tottenham Away. When we got Tottenham Away? Tottenham Away. When we got Tottenham Away?
Hello, everyone. Welcome. Tottenham Away Monday night podcast number 125. Goodbye, Europe, and bye-bye, Harry Kane. We're going to get into it. We're going to discuss. We've got Iggy, we've got JP, we've got Maz returning. It's been a while. Let's start with Maz because it's been a while. How you doing, Maz? You all right?
I've been better. I mean, the constant onslaught from Tottenham Hotspur's marketing department has been draining. But, in myself, I'm good.
Look, as long as you're good. I don't think we care about Spurs anymore. Lee's just turned up as well. Lee, how you doing, my man?
Evening, gents. You okay?
All good.
Evening, Lee.
Yeah,
Awesome.
the season's over. We're happy.
Well, yeah. Now the media circus starts, right?
Oh, yeah. JP,
This
how
is
you been, man?
this is where Iggy gets in his prime now. Every morning. Ta-da! Nah, do you know what? It's done. Season's finished. Done. Bank holiday today. Sun was out. Oh, I'm in a good place.
Listen, like I said, the season's over. Guys, we've got 100 people watching already. Please smash the like. Thanks for joining us. Put your comments in the comment section. Iggy, how you doing, man? You all right? I know you've had a busy weekend, non-stop work, so you can chill out.
I chose to work because the season for me ended a while ago. And so I chose to make this weekend a working weekend just so I can bypass the pain that would be Tottenham Hotspur's final last game. Everyone was happy, or a lot of people were happy because of that 4-1 triumphant win against the team that was in more mud than we were, a relegation battle team. But we beat them 4-1, and it's amazing when the pressure's on the other team and we have no pressure, we perform. The problem we have when we have the pressure, like we did against Brentford to get a result, we failed. And that's just been a story of our season. You guys heard, if you've seen the morning video that I put out this morning, pretty much highlighted, just expand on what I'm talking about right now. And yeah, it was a good weekend. Wonderful. The season's over. And now we've got so much to put into this summer to look forward to next season. Let's see what if Levy produces the goods. We're getting Pochettino. Oh no, he's gone to Chelsea.
So, are you good?
Did we get Nagelsmann? Have we got Nagelsmann in? No, we haven't. Did we get who else? Luis Enrique, is he coming in? No, we haven't.
Oh wait, Iggy, hold on. We've got some breaking news.
Oh, go on. Hit me.
Okay.
With it.
We've got some sneak information from the boardroom at Tottenham regarding the manager.
Let's hear it. Are you going to announce it or?
That's all right. Well, let's scrub them off the list.
Oh, you're asking me how I am? I'm all right, mate. I'm all right. When we're not talking to Tottenham, I'm fine. I'm good as gold. You bring me here talking about Tottenham, then then the other side is out. What can you do? Brendan Rodgers incoming.
We said it a couple of weeks ago, right, Iggy?
Murray, you look happy. How are you?
Should be happy, man. Season's done.
Yeah.
We can all dream again.
Yeah.
I've never seen such a depressed panel.
I'm just glad the season's over. Yeah.
Let's have a vote. Quick vote. Flash vote. Hands up if we should end the stream now. Guys,
Billy on
thanks
his
for
own.
tuning into Tottenham Away. Appreciate you
I'm
being here. Have
doing
a
the
good
eyebrow.
night. See you later. Ciao. Bye.
Oh
We're out
wait,
here.
didn't we win a trophy still yesterday?
Yeah, man.
When we lifted
Lifted up.
Diego Armando
Lucas.
Maradona up on in
Listen,
the shoulders.
you're
lifting up the
you're
trophy.
depressing me, man. I've got enough issues as it is with Spurs.
Yeah,
Now let's
Riggs.
say hello to everyone in the comments. Big up to Lookman in the house. Big up to Roy. How you
I'm
doing,
all right, by the
John?
way.
Thanks for joining us. Big up Lee. We've got William. We've got LA007. Maz Silva. Tom's in the building. David Clark. Big up. We've got Minerals.
Woohoo.
Sam, DMC Coys. We've got Paul, Soldier, Spurred on, Robez. Big up to you as well. Stuart, Jamie, Git, Jamie. Kieran, been a while. Where you been, man? Hope you're good. Seb, big up. We've got Richard. We've got Cry Away My Pain. What a name. We've got Graham in the building. Big up to Graham.
Big up, Graham.
Mario,
Big up, Graham.
KR4CH. Ishak, how you doing? Hope you are well. We've got Paulio, the disabled team. Big up disabled team. We've got David P, Shaquille, JJ. Jonas, new channel member. Thank you, Jonas. I think this is
big up,
Jonas
man.
from Finland. Big up to you, my man. Thanks for watching. We've got Max. Who else do we have in the building? We've got Show Me Lights, Tom Thacker. Big up to you guys. Stephen J, Sammy Mehmet. Oops, no, Tommy G, Sammy Mehmet. Big up to you and the boys. Quincy and Johnny from Bethnal Green. Robert, big up to you as always. Alan Sibley, 10-inch, King Ding-a-ling. Derek,
Woohoo.
Luke, and Sophie. Guys, almost 200 of you watching. Thank you so much. Appreciate you being here. Smash the like. So look, let's get into the show. And
You know
everyone
what?
can
This is
just...
probably the best bit about it, actually. Seeing everyone in the chat, in the comments. This is my favourite part. Everyone tuning in to a depressed panel, like Maz rightly says. But here we are, man. Everyone's come in, 180 people already, and we haven't even begun to speak yet. And this is the best
Max,
bit. It's a bit. I don't know what's
John
going on with Max
Sorry.
Smithies,
Sure.
whatever his name is, man. He's spamming the chat. Take it easy, Max. Come on, mate. We want to try and have a bit of fun as well. So we'll just
got
go easy
John
on the spamming.
in the house. How you doing? Okay, look, I want to start off this week. We'll get into the match in just a minute, but there's a couple of comments I just quickly want to address. So Iggy put a video out this morning and he got a couple of people asking a few things. So the first one was, apparently we don't call out the board enough. All we do is blame Levy. So we're going to call them out. Daniel Levy, Matthew Colcourt, Donna Maria Cullen, Rebecca Capelhorn, Jonathan Turner, Todd Klein. All of you out. Everyone. Out. Okay, so we've addressed that. The second one. We've got this wonderful message from Ken. How can you possibly make any predictions about next season? What utter nonsense. As for your observation about no planning, how do you think you know if you're not inside the club? Which thank God you're not. Tottenham Hotspur is a multi-billion pound business and is being run at board level in that way. Following due diligence, we will be informed. That is what happens at a properly run business. Right. Who wants to respond to that first? Because I can't be bothered.
Well,
that's the issue.
If there's a plan, they haven't told anyone what the plan is yet. So please tell us the plan.
Ken obviously knows something that we don't.
It's only been
I don't.
It's only been 22 years, right? It's only been 22 years we've been waiting.
That was under the comment on one of the videos. The video I did this morning, where I kind of just went in. I didn't listen. I didn't think I went in too hard. I was just speaking truth and what I feel is the truth. At the end of the day, it's my opinion. People can agree and disagree with it, no problem at all. But when I get this, I'm like, he must know something that I clearly don't, or he's just. I mean, the fact that he's put down is a properly run business, mate.
At a
I ain't
broad
running.
level,
I'm
as
a
a business.
I'm
right?
a football fan, man. I want to see shit happening on the pitch. I don't want to be. When you're talking to me about
Okay,
business
carry on.
plan and business venture, this is not what I'm
It's
saying.
very nice.
This is not what I'm here about. I want to be
The
talking.
club, the club's got no football women's manager, no first team manager, no director of football. I'm surprised we've even got a kit man at the moment. I mean,
But
But we do have 5 board members
do you know,
who are
teams
all raking in
teams are
salary
putting
and
things in
are
place.
happy planning it themselves and being able to run it.
If you think about it, guys, look at like Chelsea,
Nick.
probably the team. Big up, Max. The team that were probably like the worst London team. Let's say this, all right. Performance-wise, they were clearly the worst team of all the London teams, worse than us. But you know what? Straight away, they've put the biggest issue for them was the manager, and they've already got bang Pochettino. It's been for a few weeks, but the confirmation is now there. Now they're getting this new player in that he's requested. He's already blocked Gallagher from moving clubs because he likes him and he wants to be part of his team moving forward. Already they're putting things in place, and that starts with the manager. Before the season ended, they've already announced Pochettino. So that tells me they're going to hit the ground running. Mate, what are we doing,
That's the idea,
man?
isn't it?
What are we
That's the idea,
doing?
right, Iggy?
We sacked our manager. What is in place? We sacked the manager in 4th, hired the assistant, and then the assistant. We finish 8th, and the day after, we're celebrating Lucas Moura, man.
I'm going to answer his question. There is no plan. And the reason why I know there's no plan is there's 22, 23 years of evidence to show that there's no plan. There's been about 10 different football philosophies, about 15, 16, 17 different managers, right? We've got no coherent strategy for recruiting of players. We've got no coherent strategy for selling of players. We've got no coherent strategy for bringing up players through the youth system. We haven't even got a sponsor for the stadium. And how many years has the stadium been around for? 3-4 years? That's not planning. And if it is planning, it's a bad plan. So they need to change their plan. Good boards and good management structures, if they see something is failing, they make quick changes. As an example, why is Donna Cullen still at the club? Constant failure in messaging to the fans, marketing, you name it. Constant failure. She should be out. A good board would get rid of her. So everything he said is bollocks.
I just find it interesting that there's fans out there that think there's a plan. After 23 years, we've just finished 8th with the most money we've ever had to spend. We're out of Europe for the first time since 2009, and we could be losing our best player. And apparently this is the plan. Look, I just wanted to just bring up that comment. And the last comment I wanted to show is this one from a show the other night. William, one of the channel members, says, are you guys going to do a Tottenham Away end of season rewards, fraud of the season, flip-flop of the season, own goal of the season? William, 100% we're going to do an awards night. It's a great idea. I thought about it. I'm going to speak with the guys. The next couple of weeks, we'll have a proper awards night of all the different things that have happened this season on YouTube and at Spurs as well.
Tuxedos, everything.
Tuxedos up. Everyone's got to wear a tie. All right. So let's get straight into the game yesterday. Iggy can. Okay, Iggy, you can. You're mafia.
You get one of those t-shirts. You can get one of those t-shirts with a tie.
Iggy's gangster. Iggy's gangster. Yeah. So yesterday we played Leeds United. I guess it was a big game in the sense of Leeds needed to win to have a chance of staying up. And Spurs, if they wanted to be in Europe, had to win. Spurs did their bit, but so did Villa. So the damage was already done. Leeds failed to do their bit. But even if they'd won, they would have lost staying in the Premier League because Everton won. But when you saw the starting lineups, were you surprised? Were you at all excited? Did you care? Was anything different? I mean, there was a lot of youngsters on that bench that we had.
No Højbjerg. Where was Højbjerg? I know Romero apparently has an injury. Where was Højbjerg? Højbjerg's injured as well.
Yeah.
Injured, Iggy. Injured.
Yeah, I'm not buying this. I'm not buying this injury stuff.
I bet they're in their international teams next week.
What was it? There was only one change though, wasn't it? Danjuma out and
It's pretty
Polo
much the
in.
same, pretty much
It
as
was the same
expected,
as
really. I
last
think.
week. It was the same as last week. Just Polo came in. I didn't understand why Polo was dropped for last week's game against Brentford. In all honesty, I have to say, but I was happy that he was in the team because he provides us a little bit of pace in the team. Because I felt it was we lacked a bit just having an outlet on that right hand side. He offered it brilliantly, and he was really good yesterday. I really I like this, and I
And he's
liked
got
him.
an eye for a goal right now.
He's got an eye for a goal, which is not afraid to show. I thought Bissouma was. Listen, I liked his control of that midfield. I really did. Although, albeit, listen, I have to take into account the opposition. But I like Bissouma, and I think him and Bentancur could strike a really good partnership next season. And Kane being Kane. Listen, without Kane, this guys, 30 goals this season, 30 goals, 6 behind Haaland, who's just won the league. 6 behind. I want to see if I swap the two over, would Haaland get 30 goals at Tottenham and would Kane get 36 goals at Man City? Which of the two are most likely to be probable? I'd say Kane will get more than Haaland would, but I don't know if Haaland gets 36 goals in this Tottenham side.
30 goals even.
Kane is immense, and his tears at the end of the game. I don't know, man. I think. Listen, I think this is that's gonna be the last of Kane. In all honesty,
Listen, we're gonna get into Kane. We're gonna get into
Okay.
the other games and teams and that. But just for now, when you like the starting lineup, were you bothered or just whatever?
Still, honestly, I'm gonna be truthful with you guys. I couldn't have cared less about this game. You guys know, man. I was done. The Brentford just tipped me over. I was already gone, but me going to that game completely tipped me over, and I've not been the same since. I ain't gonna lie to you lot. You guys know this anyway. You see the videos that I do every morning. Most people tune in to see something like positive. I've been nothing
bit
but
of love,
fucking
a bit of
negative all week.
happiness. A bit of love,
Yeah,
bit of happiness in the
I've been
morning
nothing
from
but
Iggy.
a dickhead all week, really.
You haven't heard a word from me because that's my opinion of the game. Even the watch along came on for what, maybe 5 seconds. I didn't really care, you know. When Kane scored, I'm usually going hysterical. Oh yeah, he scored. When he scored, I'm like, okay, because I just wanted the game, just want the season to be over with. I'm just to be honest.
I'll tell you what, Murray, I tell you what, when we did the watch along in the pre-match conversation, when we're trying to get predicted scores, pretty much everyone said 3-1 Leeds, 3-1 Leeds, 3-1 Leeds, 3-1 Leeds, 3-0 Leeds, and Leeds will score in the first 5 minutes. And I remember saying, and you can go back and watch it, we're going to win today because we're not expected to, and Spurs will turn up. It's just, that's what we do. And that's exactly what happened. But did anyone think Spurs would score in the first minute or two? Did anyone see that coming? Because when's the last time we've done that?
Well, we scored early against Brighton, didn't we?
It wasn't
Not
as
Brighton,
early as that.
Brentford.
First minute.
Brentford. No, it wasn't as early as that, but that was like in the first.
Well, we did it
10
twice
minutes.
in
10
both
minutes, 8
halves
minutes or
at
something.
Leeds. We did it twice.
This is the first
half
game
and the
we've won away from home since January. It's our first away win in like 4.
That says it all, doesn't it?
My view of the game is that effectively is what Iggy said. When the pressure's off, they play all right. They're okay. Dare I say it, maybe a little bit like the old Tottenham in the sense that Mason's setting them a tiny bit more attacking, although I've got reservation as to whether that actually is the case. I think it's more the case that the players are, well, there's no pressure on them. So, as Conte said, they play better when there's no pressure. As soon as there's a slight bit of pressure on them, they're going to their shells. They drop 20 yards back or 15 yards back, and it's a whole different story. So, if I'm honest, I didn't take much from the game. It was whatever. We won, decent, good result, but in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really mean anything.
Okay. At 1-0 was half time, and the second half, I kind of thought, is it going to be that second half Tottenham, right? But of course, in the grand scheme of things, the game did mean nothing, right? If anything, it was a pointless game that only allowed happy clappers to get all happy over nothing, which is what normally happens at Spurs. But I think there was a couple of things that stood out. One, yet again, Harry Kane stood up and put a good account of himself. Scored 2 goals, both taken very well, and he also created one. I also felt the finish by Porro was top draw. That finish from Porro, and
Strikers
it's funny. He has got more goal contributions since January when he signed than any other player other than I believe Kane and Perisic. So he's third. So clearly going forward, we've actually
more
bought
than
a player.
More than that bloke we spent 66 million on.
Yes.
Don't
Oh no, it
start
might
on
be
him.
behind Son.
He'll be behind Son.
It might be behind Son, Maz. But he's third. He's third in the club. Now, that says to me we've actually signed a good player here. And when I look at the goals he scored, his finishes are really, really good. Like he knows how to strike a ball. And where
He's
to put it.
he's definitely got technical ability, hasn't he? And he's definitely positive in terms of thrusting forward and trying to make something happen. He does look a bit of a liability in the back four. But then I don't want to judge him on he's coming to a shit show. The team's been playing really bad. The defense is the worst we've seen since forever. How can you judge a new player in that back four or now? I think that's just unjust. I'll wait until next season. I'm not hoping for much next season, but let's see what happens next season, right?
I agree with Tom, though. He has been a bright spark, though.
Iggy, if we had 3 good centre-backs, okay? 3 good centre-backs, and a decent holding mid or defensive mid, whatever you want to call it, that actually freed up the wing-backs to actually be wing-backs and less defensive, kind of what Trent was under peak Liverpool with Klopp. Would we not actually get the best out of Porro?
But listen, this is what I was saying earlier on about having Bentancur and Bissouma together. I think if we have the 2 of them fit, I know Bentancur is going to take a little while before he gets back into the side, and then he has to regain form and so forth. So it will be a little while before that happens. But I am convinced that if we can get those 2 guys together playing regular football, I think our whole midfield completely changes to what we've had to endure under both Skip and Højbjerg. I think Bentancur and Bissouma will offer so much more. Certainly with the quality that they have, and they have got an engine on them. I know they both use it differently. Like Bentancur is someone that has got loads of energy, drives with the ball. He almost glides rather than run. And then you've got Bissouma, who's more like he controls that centre circle of that midfield. Doesn't really go super, but he's really good in the tackles and winning the ball back. So I think together, that works really well. But you're right. If we have a little bit more creativity, say, I mean, I'm not saying Maddison, but a Maddison type player to play alongside those guys. Imagine the fun, the likes of Porro on that side, on the right hand side, and perhaps Son on the left. They'll be flying. They'll absolutely be flying with a midfield that has technical abilities, solid in there, but also can create for those of us to get in. And then I don't know who's going to be at the end of those balls. Would it be a Kane or somebody else? But we could start taking place. But you're right. You're right when you say the solidity has to start from the defense. And I'll keep saying it again, the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper, people truly underestimate the power of a top goalie. If you've got a top goalie that comes through for you and wins you 15 points every season, you are way on your way. Listen, without Pickford, I don't know if Everton would have stayed up last night. And you got to look at many other goalkeepers we've seen throughout in the vital moments of the season. There's always the hand of the goalie there. And we have failed on that front as well because our goalkeeper has been a letdown, just like as a defence has. So that is priority number 1 moving forward because we've got Reggie coming back. So with Reggie and Udogie, the left-hand side for me it is fine that we can go forward with that. But the centre-backs, man, we've got to sort that centre-back out. Romero, and maybe put 1 or 2 alongside him that are really quality players. Because we need to also get Romero back to up to his standards. He's been way off, and he needs to have 2 players next to him that can play quality and bring his level back up as well.
Iggy, I don't think Romero's going to stick around, mate. I think he's going to look for a way out. He joined Spurs. He joined Spurs off the back of us, being in the Champions League and challenging for those places and elevating his career, right? And look where we are now, post Conte. I can't see him wanting to stick around. He seems to me like a troublemaker. Who'd rather play for Argentina. Do we really believe his injury? I've got big reservations about Romero. I like him as a player when he plays well, not when he's doing all these rash challenges. But I've got big reservations about Romero and whether he's going to stick around. And in a way, a similar thing to Kulu as well. I think he's dropped off. As soon as Conte left, he's had a poor season, but certainly it's not the same player. It doesn't look happy at all.
This is
the
problem you're going to have when you're not in Europe, you're not bringing in the right players to elevate the team, and you've probably got options. Kulu and Romero have probably got options if they wanted to engineer a way out. Whereas someone like Davinson Sanchez and Dyer, do they really have options better than Spurs? Probably not. I bet Kulu and Romero do.
I'll say one more thing and I'll shut up and let the other guys speak. Bentancur, just touching on Iggy's point, I've not got high hopes for Bentancur. He's I think he's a world-class player, he's a quality player and a player that will improve as the years go on because he's still relatively young. But I think Conte was really, really pushing Bentancur to be a lot better than what he has been. And and you'll notice in certain games, Conte absolutely throttling Bentancur when he was even a little bit subpar, and then Bentancur would just find that extra yard of pace and a bit of quality and really drag us out of the mud in certain situations this season. I'm not sure that any other manager can do that with someone like Bentancur. I think he's one of those players that responds to really strong managers.
Yeah, I was just saying about Romero and Bentancur. Romero, I'll say this because I think most people don't look at this, that this team was not a team. Like, you have to look at the words that Conte used. And it's not giving an excuse, but it's just the discipline on the team affected really everybody. And so from Romero, yes, he sees shit right next to him, and so, but it's also the discipline within the team is why he regressed. Because this year, honestly, this team felt like an insane asylum in some kind of way. And so Romero, here's the thing. People forget he mentioned in January about the medical team at Tottenham. And then the very next day he had to make an apology because he said some things that were pretty damaging about the club. Right? He wanted to play. The team doctors say they didn't want to play. So this whole Argentina thing, like I said, if you look at this Argentina team, it's like a band of brothers. I will say he probably loves Argentina more than the club. Should say the same to Messi, right? PSG fans are booing him. You could probably even say that of Enzo. You could probably say of everybody else, right? But we're Spurs fans, and we want to be felt like we're number one. And I get that. But right now, the club is not making us feel like number one. So you expect the player to make us feel like we're number one. The player is at the club. He sees the shit show that's going on. So of course he doesn't have us number one, and we have every right to be upset about that. You see, it starts from the top. Bentancur it's key. You know, he had a big injury. He's coming back in November. I kind of feel that we need to have reinforcements for Bentancur just in case. Because, like, I think everybody would agree, when he went down, we were like, our season's over. Because he was my MVP in November. He was my MVP, most valuable player of the year for me. Now it's Kane, but he was my player of the year. But he got injured, and I was like, we're in trouble. We're in trouble.
I think the first thing I said once, as soon as he won the World Cup and came back, I kind of said, I'm sure I said to you guys, definitely said it to Shine, was I think he's going to want out. Let out now, kind of let out of this shit show, kind of like where we are, and he's literally been rash in games, almost like he can't be asked. Kind of like whenever he fancies a break, he'll just go in, bang, take the player out, get a red card. Thank you very much. But I used to think that, that Romero, he basically overcompensates for kind of like the rest of them. At times, I get the feeling that he feels I've got to go and mop up again. I've got to go and do a last ditch tackle here. I've literally, crap, kind of like he's running through. Let me go and dive and lunge and kind of like stick my foot out. But
Do you know?
I think he's going to be
JP.
He's going to be chucking in a transfer request.
Do you know what? I just feel that when you look at the most consistency I've seen at Spurs is when we had Poch, and guess what? Poch was there for 5 years. When Mourinho came in, we had this upward lift, and there were players performing at a very high level. Some of them were playing at a very high level, although the football wasn't great. And then it collapsed. Then Conte came in. There was this upward lift. We went on this really good run. Kulu's looking good. Bentancur's looking good. Son, Kane firing. Højbjerg and Bentancur's partnership. The defense was pretty solid in that run-in. And we went and got top four, and then it collapses. I just feel, and I said this the other night, I've said it on a few streams now, I just feel with Spurs, there's a number of players that need to be kicked out of this club because they've been here since the Poch era. The Poch, the Jose, the Nuno, and they're just, honestly, they're stealing a career at Spurs. Then there's another group of players who I think Bentancur, Kulu, Romero, Skip, a couple of the youngsters, and a few others. I want to see them under one manager for 3 years. Now, whether it was Jose for 3 years, Conte for 3 years, the next manager for 3 years, I don't care who it is. I'm beyond caring now. I just want to see one manager who gets a proper crack at it and then judge these players. There's certain players I've already made my judgment on. There's others that I haven't. And Bentancur, Romero, they fall into that. I haven't made a judgment yet because I want to see. Bentancur, I have made a judgment. He for me, he has to stay. But Romero's one I put in that Oliver Skip camp, in that Jed Spence camp, in that Bissouma camp. Yeah. I want to see them under one manager for 3 years and then make a decision on them because I just think it's so hard to judge Romero right now. I get why people are up with him. I get it because I'll never forgive him for that fucking stupid tackle. It wasn't even a tackle. He knew what he was doing when he got sent off against AC Milan. But at the same time, there's games
when he went running out for nothing.
He knew what he was doing. But there's other games I watch Romero. I think, do you know what? Without you at the back, we are screwed, man. Like in big, like I don't see how we can cope without you. So
yeah, but guys, I think he feels that still. I honestly think he feels that, and he almost feels that I'm kind of like too good now for this team, kind of thing. I kind of get that.
Well, that's the point I'm making. That's
guys, I don't know. Listen, how many of you?
He's won the World Cup. He's won the World Cup. He's finished 8th. He's watched his teammate McAllister win the World Cup in Europe next season, playing for Brighton. If you're Romero, you must be thinking, "What am I doing here?" Like, I get
this is what I was alluding to. I don't know how many of you have played football and to what level, but even if it's Sunday League level, or even limited for those who haven't played football or in their lifetime, as in like every season and sort of thing, and then you're in the line of work. Let me just say, look, but they're both can be compared. If you're working in an environment where you constantly having to mop up for somebody because you don't have a good enough team around you, certainly in your department. If you're playing football season after season, we've all played in a decent team in a not so good team, and in a quality team. Now, if you're in an area where if you're a centre back and you're having to constantly like deal with this shit week after week, and you didn't sign up for that. Now he's not Tottenham born and bred, so he's contractually obliged to perform, but he has no thing about Tottenham. Certainly not. He hasn't been able to in the time that he hasn't been there long enough to even have that kind of rapport with the Spurs. So you're right, still. He's gone over with his Argentinian team where he's looked around and he's surrounded by pure quality players. And you think, you know what? We've got a really good challenge to win the World Cup this year. They go on and win the World Cup. Then he's coming back to a reality which he left already in half and half, because we knew the situation, the contractual situation of Conte, even before the World Cup started. We said to ourselves, we need to get Conte signed before these guys come back in January. That didn't happen, so it left even more questions than answers, which is alluded to the video I did this morning. So when you think of that, you're thinking, I've just won the World Cup. I've got to go back to that shitty reality, and we know it's a shitty reality because we live it year after year as Spurs fans. Why does this guy want to be here when he doesn't see it? He sees his manager. That the reason why he came here was Conte, and he's now gone. The director of football who brought him here, he's gone. We're an absolute shit show. He's looking at all his teammates around him, the Argentinians, like McAllister. All these things happen, and he's looking around, and he's looking at Longley, he's looking at Dyer, he's looking at Pony, absolute Pony players.
Let me say,
and we're having a go at him instead of saying let's get a couple of more players in, quality players, and to make him believe. Do you know what? All right, now he can look around. He can come in pre-season, have a look to his left, have a look to his right, thinking, yeah, do you know what? Now we're ready.
Iggy, I'll say these 3 quick things because I've seen the other channels, and I just think when you have an agenda, you don't look at the whole picture. The first thing I would say about Romero and partnership, and okay, if you're really that good, you'll supersede the other players that are around you. That's not always the case. Trust me, Maldini is a legend, right? Roberto Carlos is a legend. But trust me, if they had to play with some dross, their game will go down down a bit. The second thing, people look at the rash tackles. People don't understand what Romero's trying to do, right? What Romero's trying to do is start a counter attack. When he goes in for those tackles, and I don't still watch the tape, he's trying to start a counter attack. And sometimes he's successful because our midfield is not that great, especially when Bentancur got out. He tried really hard with those tackles. If you see where he's making those tackles, he's trying to start a counter. But if someone has an agenda, they're not going to look at that. And then the third thing I'm going to say is, right, because it's just really disrespectful talk. Oh, you were Serie A Player of the Year, right? Everybody knows Serie A plays real good defense. To get that award, you can't just be any bum on the street to get that to get that award. But people poo-poo on that, and they say they won a World Cup. Okay, well here's my response to that. His World Cup wasn't even better than the Copa America. Messi will tell you, if you watch every game of that Copa America, the most valuable player was Romero. Argentina does not win the Copa America without Romero. He had Brazil, Uruguay on a lock and key. That's when I just said, whoa, this Romero guy is legit. It wasn't the World Cup. It was the Copa America. Go watch the tape. Go watch the tape. Because he was in a disciplined team that had goals, they had on-field leaders, and everybody knew what they were going to do. I tell people this. Don't look at the World Cup. Everybody brings up the World Cup. Yeah, he won the World Cup. He was good. He was better at the Copa America. He was better at the Copa America. Watch the tape.
what you're saying goes back to the point I was trying to make earlier, right? I get why fans are angry with Romero and frustrated. Okay, I get what David Clark said earlier, where he's saying Romero, the excuses, we're making excuses, it's all bullshit. I don't disagree with what David Clark's saying, but the point I would make to fans like David Clark who go in on Romero and other players is that
Watch Copa America.
Gareth Bale being in a team that was below him, Tottenham, he still delivered. Week in, week out, Gareth Bale delivered. That's a high performer in a lesser team. Even you could say the same for Luka Modric. So this is what the argument is from fans. Well, why can't Romero do that? What's the rest of the team got to do with him? I just feel the last 3-4 years has been horrendous at this club. The worst I've seen it in the last 15 odd years. And I just feel that when Gareth Bale was at Spurs and Modric and, they were still performing in an average team or slightly above average team, we were going in the right direction. We were going from Europa, trying to challenge for Champions League. We got it once. We were in the right direction. I just feel the last 4 or 5 years, we've just gone backwards. And players that I feel are new to the club in the last 2-3 years, they are paying the price of this. They've been sucked into this mess. And that's why I say, Murray, mate, you feel free to speak straight after. That's why I say I want to see the Romeros, the Basumas, the Spences, the Skips, other players like this. I want to see them under a manager for 3 years, and for them to, if we rebuild, which I don't think we will, by the way, but then judge them.
I agree with everyone's point. I think the main problem we're really going to have with those key players is their mentality around what's happening at Spurs and whether they want to be there. Like, we know that Kulu's a brilliant player. He showed it to us last season. Romero, when he came in, he impressed everyone. But almost you could argue that our whole season actually fell apart from day one. Everything changed soon as the season kicked off this year. Conte wasn't the same. Kulu wasn't the same. Romero wasn't the same. And you can almost see it by Conte's lineup. In the beginning of the season, it was effectively exactly the same team as it was the previous season. And you're like, hold on a minute, we've just signed 5 players, albeit fine, in our point of view, it was a crap transfer window. But you can tell that the camp was not happy. It was not a cohesive camp. Conte was pissed off from the beginning. Yeah. And so for me, I'm not questioning Romero's quality. Mari made a brilliant case for him. So this is Iggy. We're all on the same page, but I don't think his head's in it. I think he's a very emotional guy.
I agree with you. I agree with you on that. His head is not in it because everybody's head is not in it. Like Conte said, this is a shit show. Just to respond to this, this is where you're lying. And everybody knows that I watch because I was raised to support Argentina. And I watch a lot of South American football. Copa America. This is where he blew up, even before he got the award for Player of the Year. Romero was the best defender of all of Copa America. That's how Argentina won, and they had the undefeated record. You saying Martinez is a big lie, and shows that you do not know what you're talking about, and you have not watched. So number one,
I think, Murray, I think this is referring to the World Cup. If I sorry to interject, I think he's referring this to the World Cup because Romero was injured at the beginning of that World Cup.
Yeah, he was, and then he came back and he finished the rest. He finished good. Cream of the crop. Didn't
Romero replace Martinez for the last 2-3 games of the World Cup?
Yeah, he did. And then the point that someone puts, because someone says this all the time on another channel. All the cream rises to the top. That's not what's the case. Virgil van Dijk, right? When he plays for the Netherlands, he, in my book, is terrible. He gets spun. It is not where you're safe at Liverpool. I'm not saying Virgil van Dijk is not great, but watch him when he plays for the Netherlands. I'm not talking about after his injury. I'm talking about before his injuries, when Netherlands could have qualified. And when he plays for Liverpool, right? There are players who are great, but when you take them out of their element or their environment, they play different, right? Only the Messis, the Ronaldos of the world, okay, they're the cream of the crop. They can play on any shit team and rise to the top. But there's some players who they can't get to that next level when they're surrounded by dross. And I remember watching Virgil van Dijk. I'm laughing like, man, he is so great for club and country, because for country, he's been. It's almost like Kevin De Bruyne in Belgium. Kevin De Bruyne is world class, but for some reason, for Belgium, their golden generation, that Belgium team are frauds in my book. Frauds. So.
But you could say that's the manager, right?
Iggy, let me. I just want to. I want to hear from Lee, because Lee hasn't spoken for like 15, 20 minutes. Lee, what's your take on Romero and the situation? How do you see it?
I think I've said this before. I still don't understand why he even came to our club.
On what basis?
All the praise that he was getting, and this will come onto a conversation that I was sort of having with Savra in one of his shows yesterday. I don't know how a player of his ilk came to our club in the first place. It makes no logical sense to me. He could have gone to any club in the world and he came to us. And to me, it sounds like... Well, this is where
him and Conte was...
We know what... Yeah, exactly. And you know, what they sold him as a reason to come here must have been a fantastic story to sit in and listen to. But you know, on the player himself, I'm not going to say... you know, he has been very rash in his tackles, but you can see when he does it, when we're not under pressure, he seems to keep his head. And I think what it is with him, it's frustration, whether that's frustration about what's going on around him with the other players and how they're playing, but something twigs with him and he loses it. And when he does, and in the last, to be fair, how many rash challenges has he done in the last 4 or 5 games? You know, the problem with him is, and the problem with the way that he is that, especially in the Premier League, this is apparent. You see this from, you know, lots of different players, is that once he starts flying in with these tackles, even when he starts easing off, he becomes a prime target for referees. I mean, he's after, you know, the couple of weeks that he had where he was flying in left, right and centre. Oh my God, he's an absolute, you know, liability. And here he goes. Then he calmed down a little bit, but then he's getting yellow cards for stupid tackles that really weren't yellow cards. And now all of a sudden he's a target. And I think someone said to him, look, you know, the Premier League's like that. You're going to get people that will target you now because of the way that you go in on tackles and that fly and all this kind of stuff. And I think he reined it in. And I think that's the Romero we need, the cool-headed one. But I think he is an exceptional defender. But I think what we need, especially with him, is someone that's got a cool head, a great central defender that's got a cool head that can ring him in, that can control him. Because under control, fantastic defender. But when he's left on his own, he's got the likes of Dyer and Sanchez and Longley and that really aren't leaders. He just goes. Boom. He's like, I've got to do all this all myself, and that's when he makes those rash decisions. Is he going to be here? I mean, to be fair, if he goes and he puts a transfer request in, I mean, you can't argue with it. I mean, he deserves to be in a better team, I suppose, unless, you know, something happens this summer and we actually do put some effort in to get some other people in to give him a hand, really.
Listen, for me, if Kane had been a striker from any top nation outside of England, all right, and he weren't so loyal to the Tottenham team that he's grown up in, he would have fucked off ages ago. There's no way a Brazilian or a Spanish or Italian striker or whatever you want, German striker, will be looking at that, putting 25, 30 goals a season and having to resort to finish 8th in the league.
But what English player has stayed loyal to a team that's shit?
James Ward-Prowse.
He's not Harry Kane levels, is he?
No, but what I'm saying to you, that Kane,
One trick
Kane's
pony.
the
I
only,
think going back,
Letizia is
kind
probably
of
the
like
last
going
one I
back,
can
you
think
think
of.
Letizia.
but Kane
Matt
is the
Letizia,
only
right?
one that will do what we do. Why would we
Hmm.
expect the same from Romero? All I'm trying to say is
Lampard left
foot-
West Ham to go
football,
Chelsea. Defoe left West
foot-
Ham. Rio Ferdinand left
football.
West Ham. Top English players have always moved to the bigger clubs. Kane,
But what
I don't get why he's
yeah,
still
but they
here.
were playing. They
I've
were
never seen it
playing.
before, except for Letizia.
Yeah, but West Ham to Chelsea, West Ham to Man United, that's a big jump. What I'm trying to say though is,
Eighth place,
football
no
is about.
Europe to
I'm not. Listen,
Brighton.
if
Villa,
Romero
they're
went,
better. Brighton
I'm
and Villa are better.
going by what Lee's saying though. If Romero were to put in a transfer request on the back of the season, who could fucking blame him for it? I certainly wouldn't. What I'm trying to say though, to create a quality team, you need to assemble the players, not just from the character, from a technical point of view. You need to assemble them from a character's point of view as well. So if you know you're dealing with someone who can lose the plot so easy, you know that when he's calm, he's actually a really good player. But when he loses it, he goes. He needs to be assembled and accompanied by somebody who has that level-headed.
He needs
who
he
can
needs
play.
a Vertonghen or a Deadly King,
Exactly,
someone to
because
calm him down.
exactly, Maz, under that guidance, that guy would level up. He would absolutely raise the bar because he's now surrounded by quality. Thinking, you know what? I need to be a little bit more like him. I'm going to still be me, but I like that calmness about him, and I need to bring that into my game. And that guy could be looking at Romero and say, do you know what? Yeah, I like that, the fact that he goes in. Do you see what I mean? You start looking at players around you, and you think, I like what he brings in. I like, who's he got to look around to? Dyer. Who's he got to look around to? Longley. And all the other trash we've got around at the moment at the back.
Tanganga.
This is what I'm saying. The problem, the people's anger at Romero is unjust. Maybe you can ask for better performances from him. Maybe not to fly in.
What about Oliver Skip?
What
about Oliver Skip?
Yeah, but Skip. What about Oliver Skip?
It's kind of the same though, isn't it? Like he's been
What about
thrust
him?
into it, really,
Why
isn't
is he
it?
coming into it?
He's come into a Spurs team the last 2 years. It's been all over the place.
Well, he needs to
3
be
years.
guided. Who's guiding him?
Well,
Who's guiding him
brought
in that midfield?
first? Jose.
Jose brought him in, yeah. Jose.
Okay. I see.
Who's guiding him? I look at Skip like a sous chef. Where's the head chef to guide him? How good is that sous chef? However talented that sous chef is, how good is he going to turn out if he's not guided by a proper head chef?
It's a bit.
Listen,
it's a bit
it's
like.
very simple, man. For me,
I agree, Iggy. It's a bit like Ali, right? If when Dele Alli came in, he had Dembele and Ericsson, and Son next to him,
and he had Poch, a manager there for 5 years. The same manager got to know him, got to learn his good points, his bad points, what makes him tick.
Skippy's come in and you're right. He's probably looking around himself thinking, who's going to be the person I'm going to learn off, and he's got he had Ndombele and Lo Celso.
Maz, Skip is a player that's supposed to be brought into a team, and for the team to elevate him, so that one day Skip can carry the team. We're looking at Skip and saying, why is he not doing a good job? He's not supposed to be carrying the midfield.
Exactly. Yeah, agree.
Dave, if you don't agree with my opinion, that's absolutely fine. But to call them ridiculous opinions just because you don't agree with it, then I think your opinion is ridiculous.
I just think it's impossible to judge a lot of players at Spurs. There's a lot of players.
No. There's a lot of players in that team that you can.
No, but Iggy, I'm talking about the ones that have been here for a couple of years. I'm not talking about Eric Dyer, 8 years, whatever. Ben
Why
Davies,
still there?
A year away from
Why they're still there?
We all know they need to go. Right? We all need to know they need to go. I'm talking about the Romeros, the Spencers, the Skips, the Basumas. You could even maybe put Richarlison in that bracket. You could maybe, because he's only been in 1 year, although he's been in the Premier League before. You could maybe argue.
I would just to add to your point, and before you carry on, I would even say Perisic, because I know Perisic. You look at him, he's old, he's a bit slow and stuff like that. But I said to my brother when he first came, you can tell in Perisic's face, he's looking around that team when he first came in, thinking, "Fuck me, these players are shit." You can almost see the dread in his face when he first came, and for someone like Perisic, who is at the end of his career, he's probably thinking, "How am I going to drag this team up a level?" Having to
He
run
needs
my
to
arse
go,
off at
man. He needs to
35.
go. It's as simple as that. He needs to go as well. He's not going to bring anything that we currently need in this
No,
squad.
you're right, but
He
Let
needs
me
to go.
I think it's
let me
unfair
ask
though,
you,
just to
Maz. There's a lot of players that I think it is so hard for us to make a call on. But let me ask you guys about one other player. So, at 3-1 up, Moura came on and decided to turn into 1986 Diego Maradona. Took on 4 players and then dinked it into the bottom corner. Now, first
He
of
was
all,
celebrated like it was Mexico
Lifting
86.
the
on
World Cup,
Maradona.
man.
well,
Lifting the World Cup.
this was 4-1 up, 8th
I mean,
place, no Europe,
fantastic.
awful season. You know, now was this a celebration for a player that they knew was leaving Spurs and it was just a great send-off for him to leave Spurs with that memory? Or was this Spurs players desperate to be joyful about something at the club? What did you make of that celebration? Because to me, it seemed a bit like, guys, we're 8th. We're 8th in the league.
Let me
No,
just
I
jump
think
in.
they were
Let
just
me just jump in
grasping at.
before Iggy, right? Kind of like all I'll say is that I think everyone was just happy for him, knowing that it was his last game.
One goal in 38
purely.
games.
I did call that as well, but I think
That's saying, man.
But I think he's a light person within that squad. Not saying about his kind of what he's done
Listen, I'm sure
kind
he's
of
a
on
top
the
bloke.
pitch and stuff like that, right? And
I'm sure
because
he's a top bloke,
because
but
he has been here so long,
whatever.
and because he is leaving, I think they were all appreciative of him. And
Yeah,
that's
write
it.
him a card. Write him a good leaving card. Sign it. Get everyone to put
He just
chip
came
in.
on for the last 10 minutes and scored
Get
a
everyone
goal,
to chip
man.
in. Buy him a few vouchers. But get vouchers together. Buy him. So you can buy something from Waitrose or M&S and whatever on his way out to Brazil. The bottom line is, man, these guys are paid.
And M&S, you know.
They are paid. They are paid very good money
Other good
to
supermarkets around.
deliver. I'm sure he's a top bloke. I'm not even going to attack the character. The guy's is good bloke. I could see him when he done the little video saying his goodbyes to everyone on Tottenham's website. Listen, no doubt on the quality of the person. I have no doubt about that. But to be raised aloft, come on, man. On a season to, I would. Listen,
But Iggy,
if I was him, I would have said, guys, seriously, fucking put me back down, man. Put me back down. If I was Lucas Moura, I'd put me down, man. This is embarrassing.
Iggy,
Oh,
he has
God.
given some of
Guys,
our
come
modern
on.
Spurs fans.
It's his last game.
He has
scores
given
a
some of our
fantastic
modern
goal.
Spurs fans
Just give
the
him
best
20
moments
seconds of
their lives.
limelight. Be done with it. See you later. He's out the door today.
Yeah, I think
There's
we're being a
only
bit harsh.
one Lucas Moura, one Lucas Moura. That's
Listen,
what they were singing.
He
They were
gave
singing
us.
that.
Let's be honest. He gave us outside of the night in Amsterdam, right? Oh no, Iggy.
No,
Iggy,
not
wait,
to you,
wait,
Lee.
wait.
Not to what you're saying.
Wait. I'm just saying
this whole thing about Lucas Moura. I can't, man.
outside of that night in Amsterdam, right? He was another one of these on and off players. He's got the ability to take it around anyone in the fucking league. He's got speed. He's got control. And then other nights he won't even turn up. It's random everything. And he gave us one good night, and everyone's calling him a legend. He's not a fucking legend of the club. He's been a loyal player to this club, understandably. And, it was a good send-off. And everyone, I'm surprised after Spurs players didn't get a yellow card for time wasting. But, it is what it is. Just let him have his moment and just move on. He's done. That's it.
In fairness to Lucas Moura, right, for all the criticism we've given him on this show and other shows, and for all the kind of amount of times he's just had to sit on a bench and not play for Spurs, he's never piped up. He's never kicked off. He's never gone on social media and dug out the club. He's been a professional. I'll give him that. He has been a professional.
No dispute for me on that.
Yeah,
level.
yesterday was a little bit too heroic for me. A little bit, just emperor.
Mate,
Raise the emperor.
He scores a goal like that. Which sends you to the. It gives you a Champions League spot at the very minimum, right? You can turn around and say, you know what, fucking hell, Lucas, you turned up when it mattered. You got us into the top 4, and you ended it with a sublime goal. And it was a good goal. Listen, there's no two ways. Right, Leeds made from a defensive point of view, because I look at it both sides. It was an absolutely shit show from their defensive point, but from his point of view, picking up the ball, doing what he did, fantastic. It was a good send off for him. I just thought there's only with the fans singing. There's only one Lucas Moura. Them getting lifted up on and off like it's Mexico '86. That's when I saw those.
That's what I said to the boys earlier.
It's the first thing I thought of was or Nobby Stars at Wembley. It was almost that heroic stuff. If you looked at that picture on its own, you didn't know nothing about the history of it. You're thinking, fucking hell, did they win something?
Yeah,
and then you dig in. You're thinking 4-1 at Leeds and finished 8th in the league. What the fuck are they celebrating for? And listen, maybe it's just my mood. Maybe I would look at it further down the line and I'll perhaps maybe put a different spin on it. Right now, when I saw that, I'm thinking, this is pathetic, man. It's like what I said at Brentford when I was there for the Brentford game. Half the time, around me, everyone was celebrating. It was Chaz and Dave playing. Music was blaring up loud. Good sunny day. At the end of the game, the bars were rammed. And I'm thinking, what the fuck am I watching here, man? Well, we just got battered 3-1 by Brentford in the second half. It completely demolished us. The bars are rammed, and it's like a street carnival party. Mate, I was gone. My head was gone. And when I saw that yesterday,
I'll take a ticket. I'll take a ticket, mate. Are you sure?
I hadn't been for 4 months still. I hadn't been there for 4 months. I thought to myself, let me go, because I've forgotten what it's like in there. As soon as within 45 minutes, I regretted my choice. Because I'm coming out of there, I'm thinking, what the fuck is going on? I felt like I felt like just bombing the place up. Honestly, it was just completely. I was gone. I was gone because I'm surrounding myself.
Have you noticed since Iggy went to that game, he's been on a rampage. Since
He ain't gonna be quiet tonight.
For people who don't
go, bombing stadiums.
For people, listen. With the way I am, or my mentality, when I see teams, you see winning teams, losing teams, mediocre teams. All right, I've seen it, and when you're surrounded by, you're just seeing the shit show we've just been presented to after the Brentford game, an important game that had to be won to have any real chance of Europa, because we didn't know what the Leeds game was going to be. What it was going to be like. We thought it'd be more. Let's have it right. We thought it'd be more of a game than it actually turned out to be. To come out of Brentford and seeing what I'm seeing around me, and I couldn't get out of Whitehall Lane quick enough after that. And JP knows because he was calling me, and I was already gone. And when I saw that, and I saw the images of yesterday with Lucas being lifted up aloft, I'm like, I can't take this. My mind just can't compute. It can't take.
Look, let me free you. Let me free you from your pain of Lucas. Right, there was 10 games yesterday. Arsenal doing what Spurs do and turning up when it doesn't matter. I think both North London clubs have been bottle jobs this year, if I'm honest. Villa beat Brighton, but Brighton are on the beach because they've already qualified for Europe. And Villa grabbed the last European spot. I think we need to have a chat about Unai Emery, because what a job he's done there, man. Brentford beating Man City, but Man City are on the beach as well. They've got the FA Cup next week. Chelsea, Newcastle, pointless game. Palace, Forest, pointless game. Everton beating Bournemouth to stay up. Massive win for Everton. I mean, it was an unbelievably big game for them when they did it. Spurs turning up when it doesn't matter. Leicester, they're down. Man United, pointless game. Southampton, Liverpool, pointless game. But overall, the way the season has ended is so. That's the top 9. I've included Brentford because they were only 1 point off of Spurs.
I'm going for Brentford, actually.
Do you know what? When you look at this league table, JP, the top 4 is the top 4. I think the standout team there is Newcastle for sneaking into the top 4. And, when you've got Liverpool, Spurs and Chelsea.
Compared where they finished last season still, that's immense. Newcastle.
Yeah.
When I look at that table still, all I think is if Conte was still in the job, he would have got us top 4. Because there's no way we would have lost the games in the way we lost when he wasn't there.
I think definitely in the top 4 race. I don't know whether we would have got top 4. Because I tell you what's interesting, right?
Well, it's only another 11 points though still. It's only another 11 points. You're telling me you wouldn't have got 11 points out of 18, even in Mason's tenure? What about
I'll tell you what's funny. I'll tell you what's funny. Check this out. This is the point swing from last season, okay? So Newcastle are 22 points better than last season, which is phenomenal. When everyone's been raving about Arsenal and the points that they've gained, well, Newcastle and United and Villa, they're the three biggest. So again, Unai Emery, what a job he's done. And then if you look kind of towards the bottom end, that's where Spurs are. We're down 11 points. Now, of those 11 points, how many of those do you think Conte would have won if Stellini and Mason weren't in charge?
Oh,
I mean, Chelsea,
I'm almost certain.
look at the difference for Chelsea and Liverpool. Liverpool, 25 points down from last season. Chelsea, 30 points. That is horrendous. That is horrific, actually.
I'm predicting next season they will have the highest points swing. With Pochettino being there, that Chelsea is going to come back, so they'll be up there. They'll be up there.
They're going to absolutely get annihilated in preseason because Pochettino's known to doing double sessions and making he works the players to the bone, literally to the point of vomiting during preseason. So they're going to be super fit, and there's quality there. You can see there's quality in that Chelsea team.
They bought young, didn't they? They literally bought
man,
young, and
he's got.
theirs was a long-term plan.
They have the second most shots behind Manchester City in goal attempts.
Well, they lacked a striker big
But
time.
look
Even
at that
when they
form
played
of
us at the
Brentford.
lane,
They score.
big time.
And they
Brentford
got
won 5 out of the last 6 games. And look at everyone else's forms above them between Tottenham and Brighton. Everyone lost 2-3 games. Every single team, 2-3 games. Brentford, if they had another 2 or 3 games, they would have gone into Europe easily on the form that they were in. And that's without Ivan Toney.
2 wins in 6. 2 wins in 6. That's 18 points we picked up, or 7 points if you include the draw.
At any point of the season, we never went. I don't remember going on a 4 or 5 game run where we just won. Yeah, like 4 or 5 games at any point of the season. Everyone else did it at some point of the season. All those teams above, even Liverpool,
Forest.
look, 4 wins, 2 draws, got them there. Brighton, who just just about made it in the end, really and truly, and Villa. United Emery in such a short space of time in charge, picked them up. Look at where they were, and he's brought them there. And there's what I noticed, and this is the part that hurts me most.
But isn't that what Conte did when he picked up Spurs? We were there, and he took us up to top 4. Isn't that what he did?
Of course it is. Of course it is. But now that Aston Villa are going to back Unai Emery. De Zerbi's going to get backed, and that's the fundamental key point. After achieving what they have done, the managers, De Zerbi, Unai Emery, they brought their qualities forward with this current crop of players. Now, the owners seeing that are going to be like, you know what, these are my guys. I'm going to back them with a better team so they can compete now to go in Europe. And like De Zerbi mentioned it yesterday, Caicedo, McAllister, they're going to be going. He announced that they're leaving, so he's already preparing for their replacement. And that wasn't the last game of the season. He's already talking about it, and they just finished the game 10 minutes before. Do you see what I mean about forward planning? Chelsea announcing Pochettino. They're already forward planning today. Where the fuck are we in all of this?
I'll tell you what.
Where are we?
Talking about forward planning, right? This is the big question of the show that I want us to discuss. First of all, before I get onto it, guys, we've got 400 plus people watching. Thank you to every single one of you. Big up to everyone on the panel: Maz, Mari, Lee, JP, Iggy, everyone in the comments. Can you all do me one favor? Just touch the like button. Let's get over 200 likes for the show.
Hit that like.
And help support the channel.
One response for Max. No, I am not. So can you lay off that comment? Thank you.
Yeah, Max, you do need to relax in the comments, dude. You've been firing all night. Just chill. Just calm down. Now, the big question, guys, and I know this is going to get a little bit fiery. So the first, it's a 2-part question. Number 1, JP, I just need to take the comments down for 1 second. That's it. Thank you. Right. This man here, unbelievable. His Premier League goal scoring record is unrivaled over the last decade.
Take a fucking bow.
30 league goals in the worst team we've seen since 2009. Anyone that says he's not world class or elite, give your head a wobble. Stop hating. You've got an agenda. He is top class. Now, We all know he's top class. However, there's one story saying that it looks like he's gone. If a good bid comes in, he's going to ask to move. There's another story today saying there's little confidence that United are going to go in for him, and Harry Kane is probably going to stay for another season. So the first question is, Kane, do you think he's staying or going? Let's discuss. And the second question, which links to it, is Chelsea very cleverly waited until yesterday to announce the official signing of Mauricio Pochettino. We've shown this image many a time before. We said if Poch goes there, they'll try and get Kane because they're desperate for a striker, but they don't have Champions League football. So will he go there? And I guess the question here is, how do you feel about Poch being at Chelsea? So the first question, Kane leaving, yes or no? Pochettino at Chelsea, do you now look at him in a different light? Or is it a case of, we sacked him, he never asked to leave, he wanted to come back, we didn't pick up the phone and call him back, the guy's free to do what he wants, stop hating on him. Where are you guys on this one, the Kane and the Poch story? Because I think these two are going to be two very big stories over the next couple of weeks, going into the summer, Kane especially. Go on there, Lee.
Only.
Right. So first off, this story that came out about Kane telling his plans, right? And I've said to you that I don't read the media anymore. I'm fed up reading media. It sounds like to me it's all a stitch up because of all the conversations coming out about Real Madrid. It came out of Spain. They've basically said, oh yeah, Kane's told him he wants to leave and all this bullshit because Real Madrid want him. I'm not listening to it. I'm still sticking by the fact that I think Kane will stay for another year. I think he wants to run his contract down and then he can put whatever signing on fee he wants next season on his head. The only way that Kane is leaving this summer is if I think the conversation between him and Levy will go something like, I'm quite happy to run my contract down. If you get a stupid figure for me and you want to take it, then be my guest. But it has to be right for me. I'm not going to go somewhere where I don't want to go. And I'm not going to go, just for the sake of the money to, I don't think he'll go to somewhere like Real Madrid or something like that. I think it's too far out of the way for upsticking and moving all of his family, all that kind of stuff. So I think it's a case of, I'm quite happy to run my contract down. If you get a fee coming that you can't let go, and it's going to be from United or someone like that. If you want to take it, and I'll happily go if it's right for me. That's my take on him. And all we can do is sit on our hands and wait to see what happens in the summer. That's all we can do. On Pochettino, I'm going to say one thing, and if the rumours are true that people have been burning his book today, you are an absolute disgrace as a supporter of this club. The only person's book that you should be burning, if he's got one, and I hope he doesn't, is Daniel Levy's. Because the only reason that he's gone to Chelsea and signed for Chelsea right now is because Levy did not pick up the phone to go and get him. If that doesn't happen, then there's no reason why anyone should be moaning or pissing or getting the ump about him going to Chelsea, because they did the right thing and went and said, we want you, here it is, blah, 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 you're going to get it. Anything else, that's our fault. That's all on us as a club. Anyone's burning his books is a complete fucking disgrace. I can't stand listening to it.
And if
I'm done. I'm done. If you don't know, get to know. Done.
You're supposed to say back to you, Stelios.
Back to you, Stelios.
Back to you, JP. Back to you, JP.
Back to you, JP. What I'll add to that as well is, just in case people don't know, there was an event held with Ozzy Ardiles, ex-legendary Spurs Argentinian, with Pochettino, and in that conversation, the question was asked. I think it was to Ozzy Ardiles. Did Tottenham approach Poch or something along those lines? And it came out. The answer was there was no contact made. So where are you at with it, JP, on Harry Kane staying or going, and also how do you feel about the whole Pochettino thing?
I kind of think with Kane, I think, as Lee said, he'll probably run down his contract. But I also believe if somebody comes up with some dough, Levy will take it. He won't want to lose Kane for kind of like on a free, irrespective of if he kind of feels maybe that'll buy him another year or something like that. I think taking a bit of wrath from the fans as opposed to getting 60, 70, 80 million pound in the bank. My view is I know which one he's going to take. He's going to go for the money in the bank. And he used the excuse of we'll give it to the new person to reinvest in the team and all of that palaver. Now, in terms of preference to where he goes, I also, with Lee, I don't believe he'll go to Real Madrid. Seriously, we all know I think he wants to break that record, right? So he's going to be staying in the Premier League. I don't think he'll go to Man United, but I think a Bowley will put a stupid offer in for him. As much as I hate to say it, I wouldn't like to see it.
Will Kane go to Will Kane go to Chelsea knowing that they're not in the Champions League or Europe?
I think right now he's probably thinking more about that Premier League title, right? As in goal scorer title. Sorry, that's what I meant. But he'll get big money. He'll stay in London with his family. He would be back with Poch. I would like to think out of our history with Tottenham and Chelsea, Kane wouldn't do it. Money talks, though, right? Money talks. He's got to keep his family happy in town.
What about Pochettino, JP? How do you feel about Poch?
Do you know what? I honestly don't really give two hoots about kind of like the fact that he's gone.
How do you feel? How does that make you feel?
Obviously, I'd rather him not be at Chelsea, but he has to go and get a job. If we don't pick up the phone, if we don't go and say to him, "Come to us," what's he going to do? Wait forever? I would have preferred if he didn't go to Chelsea, but do you know what? He's gone to Chelsea. Sod it. Good luck to him. He won't be liked by me when he comes to the lane, and he won't be liked by me when we go to Stamford Bridge. But for the rest of the games, I don't really give a monkeys.
Iggy, Harry Kane, what's your feeling, staying or going? And Pochettino, how do you feel?
With Harry Kane, I think it's going to be played out like this. If a club officially puts a bid in for him in excess of near enough 100 million, in and around, all right? I know he's on his last year. It's coming up to his last year of the contract. If Real Madrid come in for him and I think it's a good offer, then he might tell Levy, let me go because you've got a good offer there on the table. So only on that promise I can see him going. I don't think he'll force the hand though, because he doesn't want to tarnish his relationship with Spurs and their fans. So I don't see him forcing the move, but I think he will say to Levy, if the offer is there, to let him go. If the offer is not there, then I don't think anything will happen. He'll stay out, see his season, and then leave on a free to decide to go wherever he wants. That's how I see it in that merit. In regards to Pochettino, the thing is, I always want good for the guy. Always. I've always wanted well for him. But this fucking choice of going to Chelsea, I cannot swallow, man. I just can't. Because how can I wish him well now? How can I wish him well managing Chelsea? It's impossible. So for me, once he's decided to sign for them, because the way I see it, he could have gone to other teams. I'm sure there would have been other offers on the table, but he's made a professional choice to go to Chelsea, knowing fully well that there's hatred between us and them. Fact. And also he was part of that title when we went to try and win it at Chelsea and we drew 2-2, and he was part, so he knows the
Battle of
history
the Bridge.
Yeah, the Battle of the Bridge. Now he made a statement when he was at Espanyol that he could never ever go to Barcelona. So how now he thinks we're all going to be all right with it, regardless of what you're saying, Lee, in regards that we never went in for him, and I completely and utterly, and I hate my own club for that. I hate my own club for not making moves. Then if Pochettino would have said, "No, I prefer to go to Chelsea," and come.
So how can you hate Poch going to Chelsea then?
Because I cannot wish him well anymore whilst he's at that club. I can no longer. PSG, I wished him well. at any other club he would have gone on to, I would have kept an eye on him to wish him well and succeed wherever he wants. So he isn't known as that eternal loser, which is what other clubs banter him about. So how can I wish him well with him going to Chelsea? I would have felt the same if he'd gone to Arsenal. How can I possibly wish him well? So for me, at the time that he's at Chelsea, he's dead to me. And I said that to you, Stel, and you thought I was harshly saying that. For me, the moment he's wearing those colours and he's holding up that shirt and you put that picture up, it just reignites more to the fact that he's dead to me. I cannot support a guy.
All right, Iggy. Okay, Iggy. Let me add an extra question.
I'm also aware that it's our fault for allowing that.
Let me add an extra question to you then, right? If you feel this strongly about Poch going to Chelsea, being the manager there, how you feel if Harry Kane ends up at Chelsea next season?
I'd feel the same. I'd feel exactly the same.
I'd understand. Listen, I'd understand. Listen, he stayed loyal. He stayed here when Poch got sacked. Mourinho got sacked. Conte got sacked. He stayed. I'm just asking. I'm asking.
The rational thinking agrees with what you're saying. My rational thinking, but the fucking fan on me won't have it, man. It just won't have it because Harry Kane right now can go to any team in world football. Any team, and I say that there's not a team in world football that wouldn't better themselves by just having Kane. So Kane has got shitloads of option. Why Chelsea and Arsenal for me are a no-go. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
He goes onto those clubs and wears those shirts. He's fucking dead to me as well.
What if they're the only club that puts in a big bid?
I understand the motives.
What if they're the only club who puts in a big bid?
I refuse to believe that.
What if they put in a bigger bid? What if Man United come in with 90 and Chelsea come in with 130? Can we turn down 130 for Kane?
I don't think the two teams will be the only teams coming in for Kane. That's why I'm saying.
I think a lot of teams, though, Iggy. I think a lot of teams will probably wait.
You're asking me the choice to be stabbed or shot. That's what you're asking me, essentially. I refuse to believe that those two would be the only teams coming in for Kane. I refuse that. Because there's many teams out there that need the number 9.
I don't think they'll come in I think they'll wait the year, Iggy. Like all those other teams that fancy him, I think they'll wait the year.
Come to you next, Murray. I don't know what people are coming for me for saying what I think about Pochettino. The man's asked me a question. I've answered it. I don't blame... Listen, I blame my own club for not going in for him. I blame my own club for not bringing him back. That's one part of my anger is towards my club for not doing what they should have done. However, I cannot accept as a Tottenham Hotspur fan.
Some people agree with you. Look, I'm just
responding.
You're dead to me.
I can't.
Some people agree with you.
Any player or manager that chooses to go to Chelsea or Arsenal as a fan, they're fucking dead to me, man. It's as simple as that. You can bring up whoever you want. Or you can bring whoever you want. Those are no-go areas for me. Once a player chooses to go to, it's done. I can't wish him well anymore. Are you with me? At PSG,
right. Iggy, let me ask this.
Do you guys wish him well at Chelsea? All of you. I'm asking you guys in the panel. Do you wish him well? No, let me ask you that question first.
Murray,
do you wish him well? Do you wish him well at Chelsea?
I support Tottenham. I don't support Pochettino. Simple as that.
Do you wish him well as a manager?
Okay, all right, guys, hold on a minute.
I don't care.
Let's say this summer. No,
I'm asking Stel. Do you wish him well at Chelsea?
I've asked you guys a question. I'll tell you what I think at the end, right? What would you do then this summer? Mari, I'll come to you because I want to know what you think about Kane and Poch as well. What happens this summer if Harry Kane, as most of you have said tonight, if Harry Kane says, look, I'll stay for a year, but if a big bid comes in and I'm happy to go there, I want to go, and Levy says agreed. Man United come in with a bid of 80 million. Chelsea come in with a bid of 120. And Levy says, look, I'm not taking 80, but I'm prepared to take the 120 because he knows he's never going to get that money again for Kane. And Kane says, all right, I'm happy to go there because Poch is there. Are you not going to be like, oh, fuck Kane, fuck Poch? Or are you going to be like, do you know what? This is what happens. This is what happens when you get yourself into a situation where your best player, your most expensive player, has got 1 year left on a contract. This is what happens.
That's what I'm saying. My anger is also towards the club. It's the same with Pochettino. The same with Kane. My anger is towards my own club. I'm not just laying it down on the player or the manager. I'm putting blame on our club as well for being in this situation with regards to Pochettino, as well as you rightly say about Kane. But I cannot be okay with these guys going to Chelsea or Arsenal. I can't. Otherwise, everyone's all right with Sol Campbell. Why are we still lambasting the guy 20 odd years after leaving the fucking
That's
club?
different.
We still
That's
wish him
different.
dead in his fans. No, it's not. Why is that different?
Because
Why is that different? He's gone to your rival club.
Because
He's gone to
Sol
your rival
Campbell.
club, man.
In fact, let me go to Maury. Maury, what's your take on
Come
Poch
on,
and
man.
Kane?
You can't say it's
What's
different.
your take on Poch and Kane?
I'll say this because people are bringing up Glenn Hoddle, Jimmy Greaves. You gotta understand, at that time, there wasn't social media. And yes, you had rivals, but at that time, correct me if I'm wrong, was it Tottenham big brother and Chelsea was little brother in that time? So in a way, it's like, oh, okay, little brother, what's our legend? Go ahead. But I am 100% with Iggy. In 2023, what Roman did to Chelsea and just taking that club to the point that I hate them as equal as Arsenal, as equal. So with Poch, number one, yeah, it hurts to see him over there, but I don't care. I want Chelsea to go 0 wins, 38 losses, no draws. That's it with Poch. Oh yeah, unless it's a game that benefits us in the title race. Other than that, Chelsea could be a disaster. Now, when it comes to Kane, here's a couple of things. Number one, these guys are not idiots, especially Harry Kane. He knows the backlash and the hurt this will cause if he ever went to Arsenal and to Chelsea. He's not that dumb. I was telling you months ago there was just only one club in England that he would go to. That would be United. United would test Levy's resolve. Right? They're going after Osimhen, but Osimhen's going to be a bit more difficult to get. United's going to try to go after him. Chelsea right now apparently are going after Vlahovic. If they get Vlahovic, that means Kane is out the picture. His options, someone posted, his options are dwindling. So now it's either between Real Madrid, because Benzema might be going to Saudi Arabia. That's the big news that's coming out, or Manchester United. And I would agree with this other YouTube streamer. He would be a fool to turn down Real Madrid all for that record. You go to Real Madrid, you're winning stuff. There is a high percentage. You are going to win the creme de la creme of all trophies. That is the Champions League. So it's Chelsea. I honestly think that is not going to happen. Kane is not that dumb to go to Chelsea. But if he ever go to Chelsea, that's it. It's club over player. That was great what you did for us at Spurs, but now you are the enemy. You are the enemy, and
Exactly that.
That's it. That's it. And maybe, because you have a strong background in Serie A, and outside. I mean, I can't say this for everyone within the English culture, but once you leave for a rival club, man, he's lucky that they're not barricading his house like they did some Italian players to go to the rival heard of. And so if he goes to Chelsea or Arsenal, that is like the cardinal sin in my book. That's like the cardinal sin.
Murray, my point is you want these guys, if they want to go to better teams and to go and hopefully win what they're rightly due, in my opinion, I've got no problem with that. And I've always said I will cheer them on wherever they go. But I cannot sit here and say I wish Poch to do well at Chelsea, in the same way I would have wished it to him if he had gone to any other Premier League team, bar Chelsea, bar Arsenal. And I feel exactly the same with Kane. Now, I'd understand perhaps the rational side of me. And this is not hate. I'm coming from passion, guys. I'm not coming from hate. Hate is not something that I don't associate myself with. I can't honestly, wholeheartedly sit here and tell you guys that when they come to our team at White Hart Lane and smack 3 goals past our team, Kane gets a hat trick and Chelsea go on to win something important, that I can turn around and go, fantastic. I might do it on my board with Daniel Levy. I could do that to him because my anger would be towards them more than what's happening. But I cannot wholeheartedly say, yeah, Kane in that Chelsea shirt or Pochettino winning at White Hart Lane and battering us, because his level of football will completely annihilate this team right now at White Hart Lane. So, and you want me to sit there and go, Poch is the man. Fuck that, man. Fuck that. I'm sorry, man. I can't get on board with that. I can't.
Let me. I want to come to Maz. This one quick super chat. Big up to Girish, aka G Chain. Evening also. What's Stel capping about tonight? Now, big up my bro Stel each and every time, and Tottenham Away massive and crew. Big up to you, Girish. I'll see you next weekend for Matt Stagg, by the way. Old school uni friends. Maz, Harry Kane going, staying, Pochettino. How do you feel?
There's nothing about both of these situations, because both of these situations are linked for me, that I like. No, there's no scenario that ends well for me. If Kane goes to, if Kane leaves and he gets bought by another club, my anger will be at Levy in the board, because it's like you could see what was going to happen from 2-3 years away. You could, we predicted it. And every year we've been saying, why is Kane going to stay? Someone's going to come in for him. He's going to leave. He's going to do that. And the fact that Tottenham and the board have, or I should just say the board, let this player down so badly that he now is in a position whereby he has to wait for offers to come in and then decide whether he's going to stay another year, then leave, or whether he's going to go Chelsea or Man United. For me, it's just unforgivable that the board have put us in this situation. It wouldn't have been as bad situation if we were successful and we won things, because you would look to the future and think, right, we're building, we're refreshing the team, we're doing this, we're doing that. There's something good, over the hill. I think what will happen is, well, I don't know what will happen, but I hope that if Kane does leave, it will be to United or Real Madrid, because it's happened before. We're sort of used to it with Sheringham and Berbatov and all that sort of stuff. So, and Bale going to Madrid, so that's palatable to me.
I mean, would you say Newcastle's an option, Maz?
Yeah, well,
breaking Shearer's record.
It all comes down
Newcastle.
to who offers the money, right? And what scenario is placed in front of Levy and Kane. In regards to Pochettino, I said to Stel, in text messages, Levy and the board, absolute disgrace. That the fact that they've let a manager that we've all loved, and when we've seen Poch in other clubs, we wished him well, because we still really saw him as Tottenham colours, and Poch has always spoken fondly of Tottenham. He's almost a Tottenham fan. He says he wants to come back, he wants to win something with us. So all of the fans and the club looked at Poch like he was, a Tottenham man. And the fact that, again, we had the power in our hands to get him back and stop him from going to one of our biggest rivals, with all the hatred that is between us and them. And that we've allowed that to happen. And now there's a possibility that Kane might join him. I'm beyond words of my anger towards leaving the board if that happens. I'm with Iggy. As soon as they put on that shirt, and those two gentlemen knowing what that would do to us, especially now we're in the mud, as bad as we are, I'm not sure I can be on board with that, if I'm honest with you. You can't give equivalence to players that have gone to Chelsea in the past. They weren't the same club pre-2000. I mean, they only sort of really existed, after 2000. So, I mean that jokingly, but their success really came when Roman Abramovich was here. And I've seen comments saying, "Oh, but we sacked him." Well, sure. I mean, there's lots of managers that we've sacked, and there's lots of managers that other clubs have sacked, and they get over it. We sacked Glenn
Maz,
Hoddle, yet he's still he
Maz,
comes to Spurs still. So
Maz,
what
sorry to
difference does it make?
interrupt you. Sorry to interrupt you. Was this a bit different? Because when we sat Conte, he wanted out. He just threw everyone under a bus. Mourinho as well. He was kicking off. Was it not a case with Poch? He said, "Look, we need to go through a painful rebuild. Nice house, furniture. I want to stay here. This is me. Let me redo it." Was it not different with Poch because he was one of us? And even when he left, he said, "There's unfinished business. I want to be back one day."
Precisely.
So wasn't this different with Poch, where when fans say he's been sacked, it's more than he was sacked. It's he should never have been sacked because he really, really wanted it here. And
yes.
So isn't this a bit different?
Yeah,
Isn't this
absolutely.
A bit different?
And this is why it hurts, and this is why I hate this scenario, because he's one of us, and we've not only did we almost stab him in the back the first time round, we've almost done it again the second time round. We should have just picked up the phone, and got him back. We're in the mud. The guy knows the club. He could have got him back. And all it would have taken was leave it to say, "Poch, you're right. I'm sorry." He didn't have to do it publicly. He could have done it all behind closed doors. Tell me what we need to do to get our Tottenham back effectively and get the success back. Right? That's all that had to happen. And we would never be in this scenario, because if Poch came back, right, maybe Kane would have stayed. Maybe he would have stayed. But the fact that he's not come back now, and everyone else, everyone else and their grandmas have turned us down, we're in this situation. So there's no scenario that I'm happy with Poch or Kane, and for me, it's squarely at Levy's door. Just him.
Can I just say two things? One, I still want to hear your opinion about Pochettino and Kane scenario. I still haven't heard it, even though you tried to rile us up. I'm trying to hear your take on this. Everything you're saying about
I'd like to let you guys go first.
No. Everything you're saying about Pochettino is right, but all that shit stops the moment he decided to sign for them. That's a fact, and that ain't going to be nothing that's going to change my mind on Pochettino and that picture holding his shirt up. It's as simple as that. He's made his choice, and he has to deal with the backlash. Certainly, the backlash coming from me as a fan when it comes to the lane next season. The second thing, people bringing up Jimmy Greaves and Hoddle. Unfortunately, Jimmy Greaves was way before my time, so I don't know the transition of how from Chelsea to Spurs. I don't know how that went down with the fans back then. And Hoddle, I just about remember Hoddle as a kid when he was moving from Spurs to go Monaco. So the transition between him and Chelsea, I don't know. But all I remember as a kid, Chelsea was shit. So it didn't matter. That it's a different scenario as the whole Spurs and the Chelsea now as they were back then. I have to say, Chelsea were like in the 4th division. It didn't really matter. For me, everyone could have gone there. It wouldn't have mattered. They would have left Chelsea to join Tottenham. That would have been a bigger move when I was growing up, seeing Chelsea and Spurs. So now I've said that, I'm not raging, guys. Just get this one thing clear. I am not raging. This is not me angry. This is me being very opinionated of something I feel passionate about. Don't mix anger with passion. But guys, now I want to hear from this Stelios here, because he's been trying to rationalize my thinking in this merit. I don't know from you as a fan.
I haven't given any opinion on this.
I know gets it.
He's done a good job winding us up, hasn't he, Iggy? Fucking hell.
The rational side of him says that. But what you don't see, what this guy is at the stadium, you don't see that side of it. Like, he's rational here, saying all this bollocks about Poch being all right with Poch guy and understanding why there. But I want to see when Chelsea come to the White Hart Lane and I'll be sitting next to him watching that game, I guarantee you're going to come out with every single name under the sun at both Pochettino and Kane if he wears that shirt. And don't tell me otherwise, Stel.
No, first of all, easy when you talk to me, okay? Take it easy.
I'm easy. That's me talking easy. I'm not swearing at you. I'm just telling you. You're trying to have
I'm
this
joking.
rational.
I'm joking.
You're trying to have this rational conversation about Kane and Pochettino at Chelsea, and I can't believe my ears, man. I can't believe it, man.
Iggy, I'm never giving you my ticket to go to Spurs ever again. Ever again. Ever since you went back. All right, so
ruined him.
With Harry
My
Kane.
hatred for this club and Levy is unreal right now.
With Harry Kane, I firmly believe he's gone. I firmly believe he's gone. And I did a video last week saying, don't get sucked in. You know what they're like. Don't forget what they've done. There's no new leaf they're going to turn. There's no big rebuild. There's no change. It's a Ponzi scheme. ENIC and Levy are the biggest fraudsters going, right? They are pulling everyone's pants down. And sadly, everyone's still getting sucked in. So for me, when push comes to shove, keep Kane, get money whilst I can. 100% Levy's taking the money. He's going to take the money. He's not going to let the most expensive club, the expensive player we've got on our books, go on a free. No chance. So for me, unless Kane signs a new contract, which we haven't discussed, we haven't put that as an option, right? Assuming Kane doesn't sign a new contract, which I don't think any of us think he will, unless anyone does think that, I think he's gone. I think he's going to go and Levy's going to take the money because he's never going to get that chance to take the money again. This is the last chance. He's not going to do what he did with Eriksen, where he could have sold him for 40. He ended up selling him for 17. He could have sold Eric Dyer for 60 million. He's going to end up getting what, 10 million, 15 at best for the donkey now. I think he's going to cash in because he's not going to have a choice. So that's my take on Kane. I think he's gone. As for Poch, listen, man, good luck to him, right? I'm not going to turn against him. Yeah, good luck to him. And I'll tell you why.
Let's hope Chelsea win the league, yeah?
If he wins the league with Chelsea, brilliant. And I'll tell you why. Because then every single Spurs fan that refuses to turn against Levy and ENIC in the mud, shame on you, teach you to protest, boycott, you choose to do nothing. This will be on you. The same fans that sang, he's magic, you know, Maurizio, whilst Conte's in the dugout. Who the fuck do we think we are? We disrespect the manager that's got us fourth last year by singing a different manager's name. And then we're going to then turn against the manager whose name we sang for going to our rivals because our owners don't bloody pick up the phone to him. I think our fans need to take a look at themselves before they turn against Pochettino. That's my take. At the end of the day, I wish him the best. If he does well, good luck to him. If he doesn't, don't bother me because he's at Chelsea. But we sacked him. We screwed him over. We never called him to come back when we sacked Jose. We never called him to come back when we sacked Conte. And if the only club that's prepared to give him a job, who's a big club, who's prepared to back him is Chelsea, shame on us. Shame on us. That should never have happened. So that's my take on him. If people disagree, fair enough, man.
There's one point still.
Good luck to Poch. I hope he puts Levy in the mud so deep that fans get so upset and angry they turn against Levy, which they should have done for the last 4 years. You can't blame Poch for what's happened, man. For me, I think good luck to him.
Still, there's one point though. I think that we don't really know what's going to happen. Levy might be thinking, if I sell Kane and we're mid-table next year or lower because Kane's not there, how much money am I going to lose if Kane goes? So yes, he might be thinking, oh, I'm never going to get this 100 million or 80 million or however much it goes for again. But on the flip side, the loss in revenue, the turmoil that it's going to cause, lost revenue sales from Kane leaving and people not going to Spurs and all these fans around the world, God knows whatever, right? He might weigh that up and think, you know what? I might as well keep him for the year because I'm in a lose-lose situation.
You know, when his wife tapped him on the shoulder and you saw Daniel Levy's face is thinking, right? You take Stel's scenario, right? Man, I need to get money for him but also if he sells him, right, the market share, the value of Tottenham is not going forward; it's going backward. So you think of the advertising dollars, you think of all that, he's also losing, right? If he sells Kane, right, he'll get that money, but also he's also going to lose. He's had a push because Kane is one of our, other than Sonny, most marketable, player that's out there. But let alone you take out Kane, we do worse, right? And the market value of Tottenham, especially the TV, it's going down. It's not going up. So if you're Daniel Levy, you're just pulling your hairs because it's just like, damn if you do, or damn if you
the thing, Mari, the thing with Levy is he has to weigh up, right? This is the issue with Levy. He has to weigh up what's more valuable to him: the money from Kane or his image. Because I personally believe that if he sells Kane to Chelsea, Daniel Levy's done. Daniel Levy will never ever get a anything from any Spurs fan. They will hate him for it.
Yeah.
And that mural on the side of that building, I'm telling you now, the day after, that thing will be vandalised. End of story. Done.
Yep.
If he goes to Chelsea. If he goes to Real Madrid, I think it will be a couple of weeks of whatever, blah blah blah.
I think Real Madrid
if
is
he
still
goes
on the
to
card,
Chelsea,
by the way. I can see
possibly, but I mean, I know there's a guy in the chat that keeps going on saying his mate down the pub in Fleet Street or whatever has heard from his entourage, blah, blah, blah. I don't believe that for a second. I don't believe anything that anyone says. Unless it comes from his entourage is basically Kane himself, his brother, or his wife. If any of those three come out and said it, all right, absolutely fantastic. If it's your mate down the road, then I'm sorry. Unless it comes out of them, I don't believe a word of what anyone says, especially if it's the media, because they just make up absolute bullshit to wind everyone up nowadays. But I think that's what Levy's got to weigh up, and simple as that. And you say that he's more into the money, then maybe he can handle taking all the backlash and getting that money in. That's the problem, isn't it?
That was going to be my question. That was going to be my question to Mari, but I'll ask you as well, Lee. What's the worst that Levy will take? I mean, as in, what are the fans actually going to do? Moan and scream and shout for about 2 weeks and then get over it?
That's what I mean.
Well, about 8 of us might. But
that's true.
That's what I mean.
That's the straw, right? That could be the straw, but that could be. And we talked about this, about what's it going to take for people to protest and stuff like that. I think that's the breaking point. If he goes to Chelsea, I think that's the breaking point for most Spurs fans, and then the realisation, even if it isn't the realisation about the board over
Chelsea.
No, but you know what?
Stelios.
I don't think fans will. I honestly
Mate,
don't
if
think
that's
fans
the breaking
will.
point, bring it.
Still, I think fans will just blame
anymore.
Kane. Fans will blame Kane like they are Pochettino now. That's
true,
what fans will do.
They'll blame Kane.
That's what fans will do.
Yeah.
They won't go mad at, because he'll come out with his love story about, here's 100 million, I'm doing it for the club, and that money's going to go back into it. It will take 2 weeks of people barraging him on Twitter, blah blah blah, Levy out, on every Tottenham post, and then it's done.
If the fans, if that isn't the straw that breaks the camel's back, then
we're done.
I genuinely don't know what will. And if I'm honest, I would almost be so indifferent about everything going forward.
Even though half the stadium was probably singing Mauricio Pochettino, he's magic, right? Half the stadium, right? And he's just gone and signed for Chelsea. No one's moaning at the board. They're all having a go.
But that's different, though. That's
this season hasn't done it. Nothing
but JP's point is the fans were singing, Levy, bring back Poch. Levy, bring back Poch.
Yeah.
Poch goes to Chelsea. Do the fans now sing, Levy, why didn't you call Poch? No, we've gone quiet.
Yeah, but still,
we're blaming Poch.
Fundamental
We're blaming
difference,
Poch
though.
For Levy not calling him.
Yeah, but the fundamental difference is
that's the way
it was never announced. It was never announced. So the fans stopped singing, but it was never announced that Poch was going. And I suspect that people, and even me, was hoping that Levy goes in there, nicks him away,
and projects it.
Yeah, shuts it down.
This is where fans are deluded, man. This is where fans never learn.
Don't get frustrated by it.
You expect Levy's going to pull out a top move You think Levy's going to pull out
Well,
a
I
really
don't.
surprising?
No, we was hoping he would.
We were
we
hoping.
was
I don't
Not
think he
you.
will.
Whoever thought that.
I think the fans hope that he would interject.
Hope.
Listen, I fully understand.
You
I'm
hope
not- listen,
Levy wakes up and does the right thing. You hope
I
Levy
fully
is
understand.
going to
Listen,
put the
I fully
football team
understand
first.
for the reasoning for Pochettino going there. I totally get it. He's got a young assembled squad full of quality that just needs
He's
to be
gone there, Ricky,
guided.
because nobody else has offered him a top job at a top club. Because all the
I
other top clubs have got
understand.
managers. They've all got managers. Where's he going to go?
Stelios, I understand everything that you're saying.
Where's he going
And
to go?
I've
Leeds
said it
United?
numerous times. I've said it
Southampton?
numerous times tonight that you're right. I understand. I get it. And I completely get it. I do. That's the rational side of me. But if you're asking me to wish him well at Chelsea, or to me to have an opinion as a fan, him going to Chelsea with wearing that shirt and having that badge on him, I'm sorry, man. I can never get on fucking board with that. Never. That's what I'm saying to you. The whole time he's at Chelsea, he's dead to me.
No,
And
wait, hold on,
any player
Iggy.
going
Iggy,
there,
I'm not on board with it. I'm not on board with it. I'm just not going to have an issue
that's
with
what
it.
I'm saying.
I'm not going to have an issue with it. I'm not going to boo him if he comes back to
Listen,
Chelsea as
my
manager
biggest
of
thing, he
Chelsea.
was one.
I'm going to be there. I'm like,
He was one of those guys that
Expressions.
brought up that whole Espanol Barcelona thing. He brought it up. I didn't bring it up. He brought it up because
Yeah,
of his
true.
connections with
yeah,
Espanol.
but he also said, I want to go back to Spurs. I've got unfinished business. Come get me. And we've said, no, we're going. What we're going to do, Poch, is we're going to speak to Nagelsmann and pretend we haven't spoken to him. We're going to embarrass ourselves and get mugged off by Arnie Slot. And whilst all this is going around, we're not even going to call you, mate. We're not even going to contact you.
Listen,
so if you're Poch, you're thinking,
I get it.
See you later.
Listen,
Bye-bye.
I'm not salvaging our club from this. I think I've made it very clear that I'm pissed off with my club. I'm pissed off with these owners for not acting in the way that I hope that they acted. That my anger is not misdirected. My anger is towards my own club, not Pochettino and the reasons for him going there, and not for anything else, or Kane if he were to leave Spurs to go elsewhere. I understand that at the end of the day, Pochettino has to have a job. He needs to be working, and that is the only job that was available to him. He went there because that was the best option for
I
him.
just want to come in here.
I
A
get
major
it,
point,
but I
a
can't get
major
on board
point
with
with this, right, is Expression said it in his video today. Poch goes to Chelsea and he wins a league and he wins cups and he does whatever.
We're in the mud again.
Right? His Tottenham legacy's done. There is no Tottenham legacy because he's done nothing.
There is no Tottenham comebacks either.
Yeah, right.
But he's
so
getting back to
it makes that
Chelsea.
even worse.
Yeah, but Maz, can I remind you and everyone else of something, right? Because someone on YouTube today commented to me saying, what's your fascination with Poch? He's overrated. And I said, okay, hold that thought. And this is what I wrote to him. Okay, I'm going to read out what I wrote to him. Poch managed Spurs, not Man City, Chelsea, or Man United, big spenders at the time. Yet he's judged for not winning anything. He overachieved at Spurs. He got top 4 years in a row. Tottenham spent 3 consecutive transfer windows, approximately 520 days, not buying a player. The budget was non-existent, and he had to play at Wembley for 1 season. If Pep, Klopp, or Ancelotti were working under those conditions, do you really think they would have won major honours? At PSG, he spent 1.5 years. He won the French Cup and the league title. But people say, oh, you're supposed to win that at that club. He didn't win the Champions League. PSG have never won the Champions League. And his first season at PSG, he knocked out Bayern Munich and Barcelona. And the only reason they went out to Real Madrid was because of 2 individual errors. And for the record, that season, Real Madrid, they knocked out Tuchel, Pep, and Klopp. Yet everyone slams Poch. At the end of the day, Poch for me is a top manager. And if he's at a club that properly backs him, and I think Chelsea will, everyone's going to see what this guy's really about. So
But
I get why people go in on Poch, like he didn't win anything at Spurs, but fuck me, the conditions he worked under. No,
yeah, but
this
still,
500 million
the
pounds we
problem-
spent under Conte and Jose, if we'd spent that on Poch's rebuild,
Yeah,
I guarantee
I agree.
we would have been better
Absolutely
than
agree
Arsenal.
with you.
We would have been better than
still,
Arsenal because we've got Kane and Son in their prime. We would have been better than Arsenal. Now we're in the mud.
I absolutely agree with you. However, none of that will matter in 20 years' time when he's gone to United and Bayern Munich and he's won all these leagues and championship. Because when he writes his book, when he retires, how big do you think the Tottenham section is going to be?
Well, probably small because he's obviously upset with us.
Right?
But we've upset him. We've upset him.
No, I agree. Right, and that's why I'm so pissed off at the Levy and the Bald and the scenario they've put us all in, because they're almost erasing his history with us now, and that's the problem.
That's a good point, Maz. That's literally what they're doing, aren't they?
Yeah, they're erasing his legacy. They're erasing his history, and they're almost going to erase Kane's history. If Kane goes to Chelsea and he wins everything, he's going to write his book, and he's going to be like, "Oh yeah, I won the Champions League with Chelsea or the league, and I've done this and I've done that, and I've gone onwards to Real Madrid later on, and I've won God knows what else with them." And and he's going to look at his Tottenham career and go, "Yeah, okay, fine, I was top goal scorer all these years." It's almost like erasing their histories. That's the problem I've got with it. Still, I agree with you. I agree.
I'm struggling. I'm struggling because I get why fans turned on Sol Campbell. I totally get that, right? I get why fans would turn on Gareth Bale going on strike, Berbatov going on strike, and then just going off after 2-3 years with us. But when Poch almost gave us what we wanted on a budget, and he never wanted to leave, and he wanted to come back, and we've mugged him off. And then Harry Kane, who's been so freaking loyal, it's unbelievable, and has delivered at the highest level every season. I personally, when I look at what Poch gave Spurs and what Kane gave Spurs, I'm struggling to turn on them or not say, do you know what? Good luck. Wherever you go, you've got my blessings. The only one, listen, caveat. The only one I think would really, really fucking bother me big time would be Arsenal. I think that would, in fact, that would bother me because I've got no affiliation to Arteta or to Arsenal, but I haven't got an issue with Kane or Poch.
The weird thing about the situation is that, you have the big clubs, right? Carlo Ancelotti has returned back to Real Madrid twice. Jose came back to Chelsea, then went to United. It's weird because we haven't won anything with Poch, and so, but because of Levy and Enoch's leadership of 23 years, I could understand why people are hurt. That okay, Poch can seem that those were the best years, but then we had really good years with Redknapp. So it seems like.
But Premier League title winners, nearly Champions League finalists. We never had that. That was like the.
Well, listen, we've been sitting here saying for weeks.
Big club.
Arsenal bottle jobs. You don't win. You don't get nothing for second. We can't keep hanging on to this. We almost won. We didn't. We didn't win it. End of story. The reason why we're hanging on to Poch is because he's the closest we've ever got, and he was at the helm when he was there. Other than that, he's not won anything.
Poch never got backing Arteta.
But
Poch never got backed like Arteta.
And that's the problem.
Chelsea has the luxury.
That again, who does this all go back to? Who does it all go back to?
Chelsea has the luxury. Chelsea has the luxury to say, "Okay,
you know where we're at. You know what we are, right? You know what we stand for. You know what we want. You know what it comes back to, right? We know."
But Chelsea has the luxury to say, "Okay, yeah, we'll lend you Conte. We'll lend you Jose. We'll lend you such and such because they've won with so many different managers. So it's not as their hearts are not into it. Whereas someone posted, we're not a big club, and I agree. It's okay not to be okay. I agree with you in that sense that we'll be easy to attach to things. The only other club I could think of that they'll be up in arms would be United. With Ferguson, and Fergie was ever the coach, come back, which he's not, and coach Man City or Arsenal. Fergie was for over 20 years. He brought Fergie is United, whereas Poch we only had it for 5 years. We really didn't win anything, but it was some of our best football. We got real close. And so that's the only thing we can hold on to. While these other clubs, You can name managers, and Bill Nick was so long ago. Like he's not recent. Like this is the '60s. So I think that's the difference of why people are feeling really emotional about Poch coaching another Premier League team, and that being Chelsea.
Let me ask you guys one last thing, right? Just going off Poch and Kane. Today was the first day after the league season has ended. So I look at Poch being announced very smartly by Chelsea. Chelsea have had an awful, awful season. And the way they try and get the fans back on board, ladies and gentlemen, here's our new manager. He's going to come in. He's going to fix this. So maybe the fans are a bit galvanized. You look at Spurs. We haven't got a fucking clue who's going to be the manager. We don't know what's going on with the transfers in or out because we don't have a director of football. The fans are fed up. And you see one club that's going to give it another go and they're still trying to do things or maybe rectify the mistakes they made. And you look at us sinking deeper and deeper and deeper. Now, you would have thought if we had a plan, if we really cared, that today we would have announced the latest. Here's the new manager. And I think you have to have the manager now to assess the squad, prepare the transfers, and go for this so-called rebuild that everyone's saying we're going to go through and properly attack next season with purpose, right? We're clearly not going to do that because we're not set up for it. Chelsea are set up for it. Poch is there. He's assessing. He's going to make his decisions. They're going to go into the transfer window knowing what they want to do. So rather than Spurs being ready today, this is what we get today, right?
Oh, the single ladies. Oh, the single ladies.
So this is the Beyonce concert being set up at White Hart Lane today. And these are the scenes. These are the scenes from White Hart Lane. Day number, whatever it is, 65, 62, I don't even know, of not having a manager. These are the scenes from Right. So whilst the club is focusing on Beyonce concerts and all the other clubs are preparing for next season to try and be, serious football clubs. On a serious note, guys, what the hell are you expecting for next season in terms of manager, director of football, taking football seriously as the main priority and not Beyonce and Lady Gaga? I think the Chili Peppers might be coming back as well to the stadium. Go-karting. Go-karting's launching in October. Formula One. Got a couple of NFL games. We know Poch isn't coming. We don't know what's going on with Kane. What do you really believe is going to happen with Spurs next season? Because I actually think this rebuild that everyone's talking about, I think fans are in for a bit of. It's not a shock to me, but I think the deluded fans are in for another deluded wake-up call.
Right now, the one thing I'm most envious about is all those people got to step on the football pitch before I did. Every single one of those fans can actually go home tonight.
Should have bought a ticket, Iggy. Should have bought a ticket.
They can all turn around and say, I stood on the Tottenham Hotspur football pitch. That's something I've never done. I've only got as far as the stands. So
is it really the pitch though?
All those fans tonight that probably don't even realise.
It's not actually the pitch. There is a.
Well, you know what I mean. Yeah, but they turn around and say, "Yo, I'm in the middle of the pitch right now," and I'm super envious for that. But yeah, no, I'm just trying to have a bit of a laugh now, man. But listen, I said it today, man, in this morning's video again. It's gonna get worse before it gets better because we are showing no signs whatsoever.
But how much worse can it get? How much worse is this going to get?
Much worse.
Painfully worse, man.
How much more fans going to tolerate?
I see mediocrity as settled in.
True. It's true, Mark. It's true.
The 8th, 9th in the league. I don't see us. If you look at all the teams that finish above us, they're all going to get better next year, man. Every single one of them is already making moves in improving their squad. We haven't even appointed our manager yet. And when you have a look around, how many managers are actually out there that are good enough? How many? Yeah, you know what? I'm not even going to speak about this geezer, so I'm just going to leave it to you.
Does anyone here have any optimism for this summer or next season with Spurs? Do you think that Levy? Go on, Lee.
I'll tell you what I think, right? First off, listening to someone speak, I think it was on TalkSport or someone earlier, it just goes to show how much people just make shit up and talk a load of bollocks. So talking about, you're not going to see anything from Tottenham. It's only day one of the end of the season, and you're not going to see anything from Tottenham manager wise until at least like June or July time, etc., etc. Completely missing the fact we're actually on day 61 or 51, whatever day it was, of looking for a manager. So they're already wrong in the first instance, and it's going to be the telling thing for me. It's really simple. I had a conversation in the comments and that on Sava's channel, and Phil P was on there as well, and they were a very, very large discussion about the delusional nature of Spurs fans and the fact that Spurs fans will piss and moan at, and I'm gonna not gonna I'm still up against the board and stuff like that.
It, man.
I'm going to say it, but there are Spurs fans out there that are actually pissing and moaning at the board because we don't sign the likes of Bastoni or fucking all these really, really top class world players. Those fans need to get it out of their heads and get their heads out of their asses that these players are never coming to Spurs. We don't just chuck 80 million in a brown envelope and go and get someone. The conversation starts with the player's agent and stuff like that. You need to find out if a player wants to come to us, and those type of players are just never coming to us anyway. So we need to start getting our heads out of our asses there. It's just not happening. For me, the telling thing is going to be two things. One, if we want to do anything this summer, the first thing we should be doing today or tomorrow is rebuilding the scouting network in this club, because it's absolutely shot to pieces. Everyone's praising Brighton and stuff like that for finding these players, cheap players and all this kind of stuff and putting a team together. Well, we haven't got the infrastructure to do that right now. We've got nothing whatsoever. So that's number one. We then need a manager. That's number two. If at any point before either of those points are brought into fruition or we start talking about those points, any kind of contract talk starts happening with players at the club or of signings coming in, we're in shit. Because as soon as that happens, it doesn't matter about getting a scouting network. It doesn't matter about getting a director of football. It doesn't matter about getting a manager, because all of anything of that nature will be a complete balls up if we don't do that. If we do that before even thinking about getting any of those three items in, because that will just scupper the plans of anyone that we employ in those roles. Because they may well lose budget on players because they sign new contracts of people they don't even fucking want. So that's going to be telling for me. And all I want to hear in the next couple of weeks is either director of football, a manager, or new scout or something like that, and a bit of a change to the academy. If none of that is happening before anything else, then next year we're going to be in absolute dog shit.
Well said.
Do you think that's going to happen, Lee? Do you think that's going to happen, Lee?
I mean, I'm hoping. What I hope, and I'm with you on the Leanick out, Enoch out to an extent, but I could accept Levy moving away from the football side, staying at the club, but just sticking his oar out of the football side of it, right? Just give the guys a budget every year. Say director of football, scouting network manager, you're in charge. Here's your money. You do this. You spend it how you spend it. If you spend it shit, that's on you. It's all on you. I can't take any of the blame for it. If that's the best case scenario I think we're going to have, because I don't think he's going to leave the club. It's as simple as that. I'd accept it. I really would. But our infrastructure is so broken. I don't think between now and whenever the season starts, was it August? I don't think we've got enough time to build that infrastructure up. I really don't think. I think as a fan, I've accepted that next season is going to be a bit of a seesaw. We may make some signings this summer if we get the part of the infrastructure in, but it's going to take time to, come together. I think next season will be. We could be mid-table. We could overachieve again or something of that nature if we bring a manager in who buys players that he wants and pull a younger team together. If none of that happens, then we could be seriously in the mud. But I'm quite happy to accept that next season's basically going to be a write-off from the start. If we overachieve, great. If we get to Europe, great. If we start to get an infrastructure in place, and then maybe the year after we can start, pushing for something. And I think if we get a manager in, if it does go the way that I would see it go, I think it should go, then if they come out and say, look, we're never going to win the league, we're going to look for an FA Cup or something like that, challenge for something, fair enough. You've told us, great, get on with it. But if it doesn't happen in that order, I think we're seriously in trouble. Really do.
Mari, what do you think, bro?
Yeah, I'm more in line with what Lee is saying. So I'm struggling to see what's going to be good next year because honestly, it has to get ugly before it becomes beautiful. There's just so much to do, and this even with Harry Kane on the team, I feel that we are going to just struggle. We're going to be bounced from 7th to maybe the 13th place, and I'm just being nice because it's just so much. And I mean, the sporting director has to get rid of some most difficult contracts. Like, there's so much to do. The only hope I can think of is that we go on a run on the FA Cup or the Carabao Cup, and if we're able to, get to the final, 1-game final, and Harry Kane maybe scores a brace or hat trick, and we win that, then that would be the only silver lining. And you notice I only mentioned the cups, not the league, because that ain't happening. So it's really, if we win on one of the cups, then that would be the only thing I'll be looking for because anything can happen. But other than that, it's just for it to really be good, it has to be ugly. And here's the thing, and the last thing I'll say this, it can be ugly if you have a vision, you have a plan of what you're going to do. But man, I really think this club is incompetent in regards to football matters. And I just think, man, strap on for the ride because you thought this year this ride was shaky and wild. It's going to be bad next year. And I hate saying it. I hate being dejected before the season starts, but what evidence, what hope do I see coming? Well, Mari, stop being negative. Wait for the sporting director and manager to be hired. But the problem goes beyond that. It goes beyond that. We've talked about it for weeks. It's just it's going to be rough. Domestic Cup will probably be the only silver lining that I'm hoping for.
JP, what's your thoughts for next season? Do you think they're going to begin to change it? Do you think it's going to get worse before it gets better? Do you think we're in for a surprise and we actually might be okay?
It's definitely going to get worse. But it needs, like I was saying the other day, it's that whole reset we need now, right? Like, literally, we need those foundations laid. And that laying those foundations is going to take probably a season, the way I see it, because we don't know who right now, as all you boys have said, Chelsea have announced the manager. We still don't know who the manager is going to be. We still don't know who the director of football is going to be. While I'd like to think that Levy would say, okay, Mr. Scottman, here's your budget. You sort it out with whoever the director of football is. I can't see him changing. I honestly can't see him changing. He can't help but interfere. I think he's kind of that control freak of a person who wants to be on top of everything, and he almost wants to say at the end of it, look what I did. I made us win the league. I made us win the Champions League. I made us win this. He kind of wants that power, He wants to be able to boast that kind of almost in a way. So next season's a tough ride. We're pissed off now. We're going to be proper pissed off next month
No
Next year.
expectations, JP, for next season.
year.
Nothing. No
I-
expectations. Just
I
what it
absolutely-
is, what it is.
I absolutely haven't, and my
Are fans
expectations.
going to tolerate that though? Are fans going to
They have.
tolerate this?
They have to. They have to. Literally, no fan can logically think we're suddenly going to kind of be challenging for the top 6. Surely, especially if Kane goes.
I don't
Yeah,
think
yeah,
fans will
you-
tolerate it, because of
Go on, Max.
how split our fan base is. There'll be a section that tolerate it. There'll be a section that don't. There'll be a section that happy clap.
Well, Maz,
there'll be a section-
without alienating anyone, right? Then those fans just aren't living in the real world.
Exactly.
They're living in a fantasy land. And I apologise to anyone in the comments that thinks that, but you are living in a fantasy land if you think that
Correct.
that's not the case. And this is
So-
coming from someone that coaches teams
Yeah,
and
indeed.
knows the ins and outs of what's required to make something successful. And now I'm realistic about it. I'm realistic about it with my players and stuff like that, you know, and they're youngsters.
Can I just remind you all what Spurs said on the last day of the season, right? So the season ended. JP, can you just remove the? Yeah, right. This is what the club said last day of the season in the match day program. We shall spend the period ahead of next season working relentlessly to position our club for on-pitch success and football you will love to come and watch. So if they don't deliver that next season,
Where's Arnie Slot?
that's what they said. Just like they said 2 years ago, we're going to bring back the DNA of Spurs, front-footed, attacking, free-flowing football, embracing young players, and Nuno came in and was gone in 10 days. They've done it again with this. This is just a rehashed version of that. So if they don't do it next season, isn't this just going to go up on every social media page, every Twitter account, every YouTube channel? But you told us this. Why are we 10th? Why are we conceding 5 goals to Luton Town away?
There'll be some excuse. There'll be some excuse.
Hey, they're in the Premier League now, right? Don't be.
I know. That's why I said it. That's why I said
they're
it.
Going to pull the record.
Away.
They're going to pull the record next season. 0 wins, 0 draws, and go straight back down. No, just big up to Luton. It's great to see them coming up.
Kenilworth Road, the old school. What about you, Iggy? What do you think next season?
About us.
Iggy's on holiday, man. Iggy's just sitting there, drinking, eating cheese.
We're in the fucking mud, man. What do you want me to say, man? You guys haven't covered already. We're in the mud, and if you think
you're talking to me still, do you want me to give you an answer?
I'm
having a break.
What would you like me to say? What would you like to say? We're gonna have a great season. We're
Whatever you
gonna
want,
go
Iggy.
top 6.
Whatever you want.
We're in the mud, man. We're in the mud. We're a team, a club that has no clear direction, no clear vision, no clear plan, and most important, it doesn't share. Whatever vision they have, they don't share it with the people that are the most important people, which are the fans, so they can get on board. Like Lee was saying,
I think they need to do that for Lee's idea to work. They have to do that. I think they have to. They must.
But you know the problem. This is what the problem is. The problem is when you share your plans and your visions with everyone else, then you become accountable. If you don't hold on to what you say that you're going to do,
unless you deliver what you said, right?
Yeah, unless you deliver what you say, then you're fucked. And these guys here clearly don't like to share this vision that apparently they have, because they don't ever want to be held accountable and say, you said this and you said that and you haven't delivered. These guys never do it. They blag it year after year after year. They might get it right sometimes. They might get lucky sometimes. But more often than not, when you don't have those plans and visions and share it with the 62,000 people that turn up every week at the stadium and those who watch all around the world, you don't share that vision with them, how can you ever have those guys on board? How can you ever? So right now, where are we heading towards? I don't know. And that's one thing with me, with anything, I don't like when there's no plan in anything. There's no thought process. There's no sense of direction where all ships sail in the same direction. We don't have, that's the first objective that this Tottenham Hotspur Football Club needs to have straight away. You're rightly when you said about recruitment and everything else. Start putting things into place, and then if it of course, we know it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to happen. It's going to take more than a year. It might take 2, 3, 4 seasons, but if you start putting those things in place, then we can start getting on board with it. When you ask me the question, where do I see us next season? I think it's going to be the same old shit again. I really do. I don't know if it's going to get better. More probably it's going to get worse. But we're going to be, what, we're 8th this year? Without Kane, we're looking at
9th,
13th,
10th.
14th, 15th. We're looking, we're going into mediocrity.
Well, let's
Our
look at it
footballing
because
team is going into mediocrity quicker than you know it. And
Kane's won
people
a
are
14
not
points
raising
this
an
year.
eyebrow about it.
Kane
They
won us
just
14
accept it.
points. So if you,
I don't think people realise the severity of the issues that we've
I
got
know,
at Tottenham right
that's a
now,
top half
from the
only.
footballing perspective.
I think
don't
46.
realise-
15th,
46, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
46.
about 46 points, isn't it?
We've been on 46 points without
I
Kane.
don't think people truly get it, man. I honestly don't know if people truly understand the severity of, from the footballing perspective, guys. I'm not talking about the stadium and the concerts.
The business.
There's
Yeah.
shitloads of money there, man. There's no two ways about that. I'm talking about it from a footballing perspective, which is what fundamentally we should be the number one thing at this club, but it clearly isn't. I don't understand. I honestly, I don't. I worry, man. I'm worried now. I actually worry about it. I worry about the severity of the issues that are not getting addressed. We're no closer to sorting them out because the vision that this club has is not shared with me, with you, or anyone. And unfortunately, how can I be on board? How can I be on board in something I don't know what's happening? So that's the thing. I struggle. I struggle with anything when there's no plan, vision, and I don't know what's going to happen between now and the next 12 months in anything that I do. I try to have a vision, then I might get it, I might not, but at least have a direction of where I'm going. Without that, I can't function. I don't understand how this club functions without any sort of planning or forward thinking. I don't get it. How can you?
For
You
me-
do that, Lee. You got football teams. Stel, you got football teams. How do you go into next season without strategizing as of now what you want to do for next season? I don't know, man. And we're talking about a level from kids level.
You always mid-season look.
There's my
at
plan.
What needs.
But what I'm saying, what I'm
It's
not
on my
I'm-
desk, ready for next season.
What I'm trying to say, yeah, and this is
You should
this
be.
is
You
without
should
knocking.
be. You should
And this
be
is from the kids'
assessing
perspective.
mid-season of the current
Elite level
season.
here we're talking about.
Mid-season, you should be checking in, reassessing, gauging how it's gone so far, making adjustments if you need to. And with 1 month to go of the season, you should begin putting in plans for the following season. So really, Spurs at the start of May, the latest, should have had their plans ready to go. But we're not there. We're not there. We're nowhere near
It's
that.
so obvious
Obvious.
that we're not there.
Still,
So how can I
yeah.
be excited about next season? What we're going to achieve? I don't know, man. I don't know. Unless we get
Well, my for me, my prediction is this.
Pain.
Clubber Lang, yeah, he knows. Clubber Lang knows.
Pain.
Beautiful.
Hold up, Pain.
Being on a plane.
So, as you said, right, there's too many problems to fix now, especially in one season. There's just literally too many problems.
Before the season starts, Maz, absolutely. Before the season starts, it's crazy.
There's too many problems, you know. And the thing is, as well, is you've got the mess that Paratici made in changing the club over the last 2-3 years, right, or a couple of years that he was there, where he's implemented all these structures around the club for scouting, for youth, for this and for that, and God knows what else. And another director of football might come in and say, no, this is a load of rubbish, and rip it all up. And there'll be another 2-year period of change where he lets people go and rehires and comes in. And you've got the same thing with the manager coming in and ripping things up and starting again, right? And there's too many problems for even a group of people to fix.
Do you know what the issue is with Spurs, right? And this is where Brighton have done a magnificent, and I mean the word magnificent, job. Spurs should have literally on a piece of paper written down, what do we want, right? So you'd write down to win the Premier League, for example. And then you say, right, let's look at who's won that. You look at City, you look at Chelsea, you look at Liverpool in recent years, and you think, okay, how did they do it? And you write down the things that they did. You then go and analyze the way they did it. And then you say, right, how can we copy that, but our way? And then you put together a plan and you say, right, how long is this going to take to do? You say 5 years. Okay. In year 1, what have we got to achieve? In year 2, what we've got to achieve? And then what you do is you've got a 5-year plan. You know what the aim of it is, and you've got targets to hit each year. And as you go along, you've got to be flexible because things change, things happen. You might lose your 2 best players, so you've got to go and do something about it. Okay, so there's got to be flexibility. And then what you do is you only hire people, managers, sporting directors, and players that fits the plan. And if you lose a player or you lose a manager, the next one that comes in takes over, and you've got the continuity because the plan is already there. All they've got to do in the job interview is, can you deliver the rest of this plan? That's the interview. But at Spurs, I'm sorry, there's never been a plan. I urge any football fan to go
It's
onto
just
YouTube.
reactionary, isn't it?
Go. It's all reactionary, JP. Go onto YouTube and type in high performance, right? High performance podcast, and look at the interview they did with Paul Barber, the chairman of Brighton, who used to work at Spurs, that we got rid of. Listen to that interview, and if your mind doesn't go, pow, now I get why Levy is the problem. Listen to what he says. They planned to be in the Premier League 10 years in advance. And when they got to the Premier League, they had a plan of getting into that top 6. And they've done it because they've had a 20-year plan, and they only employed people that could deliver the plan. Nothing like that happens at Spurs for football. Off the pitch, JP, off the pitch. Oh my God, we've had the mother of plans, and we've delivered it. We've delivered it. On the pitch, we don't even come close to a plan like that.
Yeah,
None.
because that wasn't the priority.
I bet you Brighton's
You're not
plan.
interested in that.
I bet you Brighton's plan though it's not necessarily just getting that top 6. I bet you it's probably winning the Champions League, right? But you start off with those little blocks, right? First of all, get in the Premier League, then you go in the top 6, then you go into the top 4, then you consolidate that for another year, then you go, you know.
JP, he even talks about the chairman. Honestly, I urge you all to go and watch it. He even talks about how they go about planning for losing their best players in advance and what to do when it happens. They have plans for that. That's why when they lose Ben White to Arsenal, Bissouma to Tottenham, Chilwell, was it Chilwell? Not Chilwell, Cucurella to Man City, Trossard to Arsenal. That's why in comes Minamoto. In comes McAllister. In comes Casado. Because they plan for it. We lose Kyle Walker. We lose Kyle Walker 7 years later. We still ain't got a fucking replacement.
Still, they've already done it. They've done it again, haven't they? Casado and McAllister are going, and apparently there's already 2 people on the way in.
They've done. Yeah, they've got plans.
Sorted yourselves out.
That's why they might have
started with the plan. They might have started with the plan, but they never allow it to execute. They just rip it up and do another plan.
There's no plan at Spurs. It's just, can you get us top 4? Can you get us? Can you get Champions League?
You know, as Brighton, you know that there's going to be big.
Watch the podcast, guys. High Performance with Paul Barber. Fantastic. Just even as a football fan, no matter who you support, go and watch it. It is fantastic. Really good.
Things like this is endemic of poor hierarchies and poor management at the top, right? Because really good CEOs and managers and directors, they trust the people they employ and they listen to them, right? And then they add their own 2p of experience in to make it great. Right, Levy doesn't trust anyone apart from himself and his cronies that know nothing about football. So they never allow. They might have the plan still, but they never allow them to execute it.
No. Levy. Paul Barber's interviewing the replacement for Casado. Daniel Levy's interviewing Beyonce's agent. That's the difference.
Yeah, exactly. Right. They never allow the people in charge to execute their plans and follow through with it. As soon as something goes wrong, they panic, fire, and they hire someone else because they think they can do with Chelsea effectively.
It's the club that needs to write the plan. It's the club that needs to say, this is what we want to achieve. We want to win this. And then you build your plan, and then the manager, when they approach Conte, when they approach Poch, when they approach whoever, Jose, Nagelsmann, they say, this is our plan.
But Jose got it right still.
Can
It's
you
not
finish off
Tottenham
what we're
Hotspur
doing?
anymore. It's not Tottenham Hotspur. It's Mr. Levy Club, because he is the club, and that is the problem. But it's the truth.
true.
I know we joke
Mm.
It's
about
true.
it, but
It's true.
it's
It's true.
true, right?
Yeah.
So when we say the club, Levy is the damn club because he wants to control everything, and that's the problem. And that's the sign of a bad CEO, because good CEOs, good owners delegate and give people the responsibility and accountability to execute against the plan, which is exactly what you said. But he can't let go.
Stel, do you want to answer that quickly?
Fans say what we will do without Kane, but with Kane hitting 30 goals, we still finished 8th, nothing, and no one can save us. Okay, but if he didn't hit 30 goals, we would have finished 18th. That's the point, Ron. We got
I think
8th because of him. We
and
would
I
have
think
been
that's-
further down.
That's
Isn't
the
that
fear for
isn't
next.
that the common sense answer?
That's the fear for next season, right?
Listen, at the end of the day, I don't support Kane. I support Tottenham, right? There will be life after Kane, whether it's this season, next season, we're going to have to deal with it. My problem is, do you trust this board to properly replace someone like Kane? What he does for us? I don't. We got lucky with Kane. We got lucky that he came through the ranks and turned out to be really good, and that Poch developed him at that time. That it's a 1 in a million. You get a superstar like that, striker, come through your ranks.
We got lucky with Bale, to be honest, as well.
Well, we signed him though, didn't we? So
I know, but it's still an element of
Mitchell.
luck. I mean, I don't think anyone
didn't count him.
realised what Bale was going to become.
No, Paul Mitchell wasn't there at the time. Sorry, it wasn't Paul Mitchell.
What Bale was going to become when we signed him. We never thought he was going to end up being, what he was.
That good. Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying. But okay, so like we got lucky every kind of 10 odd years. I mean, we can't plan for luck. You can't plan to be lucky, right?
The same with injuries and all that.
So,
right?
in a weird way, so he got lucky with Modric, and he got lucky with Dembele. He got lucky with Bale. He got lucky with Kane. It's got to run out. It's got to run out. You can't. Who's the next guy who's going to get lucky with? There's no. And this is a worrying thing. We've always had a superstar or superstars in our team, but Son and Kane are coming to the end, and there's no. Where's the next spark? There's just nothing. Will fans tolerate not having a flair player or a player like Son and Kane in their team?
Big up Mackenzie and Kern. Listen, I think for us, the reality is the next month is crucial, because if we haven't got this manager and director of football in next month and we go into July, I think there's going to be it's going to be carnage, man. It's going to be absolute carnage at this club. I can see it. I can see pre-seasons being disrupted. I can see, friendly games being disrupted. I can see protests getting bigger. Social media, they're going to have to start shutting people's accounts down.
When you say next month, you're talking about what, like 3 days away, right?
3 days away, yeah.
When are we supposed to be going on the tour? Is it another one doing another one in Asia, aren't they? South Korea or something?
Yeah,
Singapore.
China,
See, for me, we're in such a difficult position that kind of shit should be scrapped. That's all a media stunt. It's all a PR thing. It's nothing to do with the team.
Exactly.
There should be back in that training in there trying to work out how to fix the club. They shouldn't be going anywhere with all that crap.
Exactly. I'm with Lee on that one. Yeah.
18th of July until the 26th of July. We're playing Leicester City in Bangkok. We're playing West Ham United in Perth, Australia. We're playing Roma in Singapore.
Joke, man.
So we're going so from middle of July to the end of July. So about a week or two. Well, this is what I'm saying. If
that's middle of July, middle of July, that means they've got to be back at least a week before that, haven't they? Which you go what, 10th of July, 8th, 9th, 10th of July, which literally gives them 4 weeks, 5 weeks off. And then some players have got international.
No, they're going to go on break now. They're going to go on break now for 3 weeks, right? They'll come back
Yeah, but there's
towards
an
end of
international.
June.
There's internationals coming up soon.
They've got to be back at training end of June because they're going to need 4 or 5 weeks fitness training. They have to come back.
Nations League and stuff happening.
Yeah,
So
that's another week out.
They have to come back minimum 2 weeks before that tour. Minimum. They have to. Because the season starts like first week of August. It's the Community Shield and the league starts, right?
Because that is literally the 1st of August they've got to start training.
I said this last week.
The beginning of July.
I said last week, we have got 8 weeks before the season starts, roughly, right? In 8 weeks, we need a manager, a director of football, Harry Kane's contract sorted out, the 8 players coming back on loan to be either sold, loaned out again, or they're going to be part of the plans. The squad's going to be a 30-man squad. It's too bloated. You're only allowed 6 loan deals next season. It's going down from 8, so that needs to be sorted out. And you need to bring in the players for where we're weak. Goalkeeper, centre-backs, creative mid, blah, blah. There is so much that needs to be done in 8 weeks, and we haven't got the football people in the job to do those things yet. So I just don't see how this,
it's going to be 4 weeks.
Landing.
It's going to be 4 weeks now, right? Still, if they go away on the 17th of July.
Yeah, but you can still do some of the work during the break. You can still do transfers.
Who's going to? Yeah, but who's going to do that? You're going to go away to China and Australia without a manager and stuff.
That's why. That's what I'm saying. Next month they've got to be here. We've got a super chat here from A user. Big up. I'm worried for next season. For me, it's a write-off. I think that's what Lee said as well. Be prepared to write it off.
JP, we've got Ryan Mason.
Next season starts on the 12th, so we've got about 9 weeks.
Maz, I've said if Ryan Mason's the manager, I'm giving up. This is all I'm going to support next season. If Mason's out, I can't take it.
It'll be absolute. If we think, oh God, no Kane and Ryan Mason in charge.
Listen, on that note, we're going to end the show because if we're going to start talking about Ryan Mason, then I'm done as well. I'm cooked.
Can I just say one more thing, Stelios, because we haven't got onto him, right? And this was I think I said this yesterday to someone. Richarlison came on yesterday, right? And at one point, there was a 2-on-1 against Leeds, and he played a pass that I would have shouted at one of my under-8s for passing. Kane would have been through on goal if he had passed it. And that for me was I don't care if you sell him for half the price. That guy's got to go. He's got to get out of the club. He's done absolutely nothing for us. And that was it for me. What an absolute joke of a player.
Mate, if I was going to shut the stream because we're going to talk about Mason, Richarlison, I'm going to shut my life. Just to answer this one question, Ashraf, we are not signing Maddison. Get that out of your head. We're not signing. In my opinion, we're not signing Maddison. But anyway, listen. Big up to Iggy, JP, Lee, Mari, and Maz for tonight, boys. Thanks for coming on as always.
Big up to everyone in the chat.
Big up to G Chain for the super chat and A user. Also to Jonas for becoming channel member. Big up to you guys. Iggy will be doing his morning live shows as morning videos as always. Mari's got his show on Wednesday. Check that one out. We've got a fan show on Thursday. You're all welcome to jump on, have your say. And then Friday, we've got our Friday show. And that will be us for this week. Other than that, guys, listen, that was a good show, man. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for being a part of it.
Hit that like before you leave, if you haven't already.
Sure that you get yourself down to the Beyonce concerts at White Hart Lane. Enjoy the concerts.
Put your hands up.
Put your hands up. Leave you out. We're out of here. See you later. Take care. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
The first game we look for, Robbie. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away.